kind of racist.
Yeah, so we were live for that part.
That's fine. I didn't say
Okay.
anything that the chat doesn't say.
I guess that's and that's who we should listen to. That's who we should listen to. I enjoy that. I enjoy when people are like, "Hey, I'm a random person in the comment section. You should change your whole thing, even though that you have no reason to believe that I know how to do this." Anyway,
Now it is calling it now,
there we go. That's a better starting song.
and we are proud to
Oh
be
no! Oh no! It's also kind of racist.
debating MAGA chuds. It's Jovan and Jimmy.
I never got a call to do a voice on that show, weirdly.
I wonder why. You are one of the white people they wanted to do black voices on the Cleveland show?
No, it was weird. I don't know. I don't get it. By the time they did the Cleveland show, was only Cleveland voiced by a white guy?
Voiced Rollo. Why do I feel like Rollo's voice might have been voiced by a white guy?
Should we put that on the debate menu today? White people should not voice black cartoon characters?
Rollo was voiced by Mike Henry. Was also voiced by the guy who voiced Cleveland.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Oh, man. That's rough. So has Rollo not said a word on Family Guy ever since Mike Henry stopped doing Cleveland?
Rollo has only legitimately, I'm pretty sure, has only ever showed up, said hi to Stewie, and Stewie was like, "Get out of here, you boondocks, knock off." And he has never done anything on that show.
Wow.
That's actually very funny. And even a bear.
Who Seth MacFarlane stopped voicing after season 1. I know that from Family Guy. Hi everybody, welcome. I don't even have live chat up yet. You guys being good?
Is this where we tell everybody that most of our time, because we play video games like
pretty much every day.
Almost every night at this point.
Yeah.
And most of our time playing video games has devolved into lately just us quoting
our favorite shows
we like.
Yeah. It's something you would expect Abed from Community to do with his friends. And there's a reason, there's something the three of us have in common.
Abed, they had him tested. He's fine.
Is he? Is this like how they saved Garrett? Did we? did we save Garrett? God, I love that show.
I bought a recliner for my gaming room today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was gonna get like this fancy one, and then with the like protection plan and everything, that shit was gonna cost me like $1,500. I said I can go with the cheaper one.
You do very famously not don protection.
Yeah, I've stopped doing that with furniture because my couch that I got less than 2 years ago is broken.
It was a condom joke.
Well, I'm autistic, so you didn't say hashtag, or well, you didn't say slash
so what,
J.
Jovan, you're saying all autists don't wear condoms?
No, we're allergic to
autist so weird.
I don't know. That felt ableist.
It did. I feel a little bad. I'd like to apologize to a number of communities, including before the show. I participated with Jovan in trying to see how much we could get ChatGPT to use AAVE.
I got ChatGPT to say the N-word, so
she did. It was.
I'm more proud that I was able to work around the system.
Yeah.
Right. You can't keep a good ChatGPT. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay. I assume the answer to this is no. And I don't know why I'm asking you, because you couldn't tell me the answer either way. Mm-hmm. So if anyone's black and listening to this show right now, I know it's very few of you.
I'd like a shot. I'd like a shot to explain the black experience to you.
Would a robot be able to use the N-word?
Well, who's the engineer?
Like, you played Detroit Become Human?
No.
Can the black... Okay, Detroit Become Human. It's a thing about robots that are slaves and they look like people. Like, they're like... Yeah. Can the black robots use the N-word? Because they're not actually black.
Here's what American history has taught me. When there are fully functioning robots, a white guy is going to take credit, but we're going to find out it was invented by a black guy.
Yeah, but I just want to know if the black robots can say the N-word.
Right.
because they're not. And another thing, the thing that got me about that game is I'm watching a game. May they shut the fuck up. I was playing that game, and the whole time I'm just thinking about, you're telling me in this universe you created slave robots and someone let you make some of them black. I don't believe that. There is no universe. If we created robots that looked like people that were just meant to serve, there's no way any of them on the commercial market would be black.
I know that they're just, by the way, MAGA or whatever, if you guys want to call in and explain your shit to us, theists, whatever, the phone number is right there. Right now we got Gohan trying to queue up, and this week I've been showing that I don't know that just because we don't have calls means we'll take any call. That's in the past it's been like, well, we don't. So listen, guys, 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101 if you would like to call and discuss one of our differences. It's there because there's even interesting discussions about like why Siri has a woman's voice and why they'll use certain tones of voice, like the computers, if they have to make announcements in certain scenarios, they'll use certain voices depending on how seriously they want you to take the announcement. So there's shit like that too.
Someone said, can a white kid who literally had all black and Hispanic friends until the age of 10 say the words and he grew up saying it with his friends? No. No.
May they is what you meant. Physically, they can. They can, but they may not.
I just could a black, because a black robot's not black.
Unless they are.
No, they physically can't be.
Well, humans are meat robots.
Huh?
That's what we are.
That's not what I'm talking
about.
So
I'm saying, like, where is the point that they are or aren't black? What difference do they have to have in society? So if a person, this is my question to you, Jovan, this isn't a devil's advocate. It's going to sound a little bit like one though. What if they didn't know they were a robot and they were raised as a black person?
Then they can use the N-word until they learn they're a robot.
But when they learn they're a robot, if by a lot, like if their brain is more significant,
they've been raised as a black person through the black experience. I would say they probably get a little N-word pass there.
Wow, I found one, guys.
Yeah, that type of robot can use the N-word.
I found one. I found a loophole. So listen, if you are one of those white people who just super wishes you could say it, all you have to do is go sign up for a science experiment where your consciousness will be moved to this robot, your memory wiped, and then you will start. Guys, I found your way. Okay, there is a way. You can do it. Here I am helping helping those guys who are just like, I really, really want to say it though. This is an unfortunate hair placement. Let me just try.
Oh, wait. We should do this. Hold on. We'll do this hypothetical real quick.
Yeah.
I saw this on a TikTok and they were like, this is the greatest hypothetical ever. And they asked it and I was like, holy shit, this is the greatest hypothetical ever. Let's say you clone Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you have and he's like 1/12 the size, little clone Hitler sitting on your mantle in a jar.
Okay.
Would you punish the clone? Would you fuck with the clone?
Are we just talking about Stephen Miller?
No. Funny. No. I mean, you literally have a clone of Hitler. He's a clone.
All of his memories.
Of his memories, but technically he never did any of the stuff Hitler did.
No, I think I can't. I think in that
But he
scenario,
still believes all the stuff Hitler believes.
But he's
like he still wants
restrained.
to exterminate.
Yeah.
Like, but the main conceit of the hypothetical, like, if I had Hitler in front of me, I'm beating the shit out of him if I can.
Yeah. But if
when I beat the shit out of, you could even say he's normal size Hitler,
like a stand-in.
Would you beat the shit out of clone Hitler even though clone Hitler didn't do any of the stuff Hitler did.
Somebody has also done a great evil. Now, you're not saying it's you, but somebody's done a great evil in creating a life for the purpose of tormenting it, right? A sentient life. Like, that's the reason. Like, and so there's
that's like 7 layers deep.
Evil there, right, that to worry about. But you've got this guy, it's 1/12. I think what I do is I treat him like, hey, welcome to the modern world. We have this really cool way that if you're cold, you can shut the garage door and heat yourself up in your car. And I just show him that.
Okay.
I just peacefully
the conceit of the hypothetical, if case chat isn't aware, is like, would you punish the clone of someone who harbors the same thoughts but technically didn't do the things that person did?
Adolf on a shelf. A fix your joke, Spaceman Dan.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Hey, MAGA, we'll talk to you guys. We want to change your mind. We're open to you changing our minds. The thing is we don't really think you have a good reason to be MAGA.
I think MAGA are
MAGA
uneducated.
actually serves your interest. We think that it's through ignorance that you are MAGA. And anybody realistically who's going to call this show, most of you, it would be through ignorance. Now, some of you, this does not negate that some of you may also be evil, but I don't think for most people, I think even most evil MAGA people are actually driven by their ignorance, because even evil MAGA people, if you actually start to get them to engage at the thought level, you can actually kind of show them MAGA was never in their self-interest anyway. Only if they are like a psychopath is it in their self-interest. So we'd like to talk to you. That phone number is 336-543-2101. As for taking the call with Gohan,
let's just give it a little bit more time.
Yeah. If Gohan,
this is what I think. I think if Gohan can sit on the line for 15 to 20 minutes,
then
maybe we take him.
And he's calling about the exact same goddamn thing he's already called in on. And it's one of these things where it's like the Shroud of Turin has never been validated. Ever. You're just sitting and going,
autopsy this proves time it was not painted. How do you autopsy a blanket?
That's funny, yeah. But the thing is every time we look up his sources, it turns out he's misread something, or it's just a source of like, no scholar takes this seriously. So
I only want to talk to Gohan if he has some other.
No, I need to make money to talk to Gohan in advance. I need to be paid to talk to Gohan. So if somebody super chats $50 saying to pick him up, I'll pick him up. But otherwise, I don't know what the point is.
Someone said that's not fair because Gohan never lasts that long in an episode.
I don't know.
How much time are you giving him for $50?
Oh, I mean, he can stay on hold the whole show. I don't care. I'll only lose if he stays on hold the whole show, like $1.80, I think, is how much that call would cost. Anyway, will Jim take a call from Hakeem and not hang up? Which one's Hakeem again?
Who's Jim?
Didn't I already? Me, I don't know. People think Jim is whatever. Hakeem. Mark is Hakeem. I recall Mark Andrews in chat called in pretending their name was Mark, trying to get in instead of just calling in. Of course, I'm not going to commit to not hanging up. Hakeem doesn't follow the rules. Hakeem tries to overtalk shit. Hakeem lies. Like, I'm not going to commit
to torturing clone Hitler.
Would he commit to? Yeah, I might. Man, I don't know, man. There are times where like my concept of what humanism entails is pretty unshakable.
So wait, you wouldn't punish clone Hitler?
Yeah, I think I can't.
Even if he harbors all the same
memories
views as normal Hitler, and
right. I would restrain him from being able to act, which the funniest way might be to just let 1/12 size Hitler out, let him out into public. Like, what's he gonna do? 1/12 size Hitler? Is that guy going to be a new hero? I don't know. Anyway, that part's a joke. I don't think I could. I think I'd
probably. I think I would probably punish clone Hitler just for the thoughts.
Yeah, I get it. But
like, if he just thinks I want to exterminate the Jews, that is enough for me to be possessed.
but I don't. Well, okay. On a personal level, are there things in which I would be tested to go against my own humanism? And this I've said yes to before. You know, the hypothetical I've given before is I believe it is the case that if my dog and Ben Shapiro were drowning in a pool and I only had time to save one of them, that technically I believe that the correct choice is technically, I'm going to just say that again, to save Ben. Because even though Ben is evil and I think the shit he does should be absolutely not present in the world, humanism would value human life the most. And Ben Shapiro the hope would be he would reform, and as a reformed individual would be a better person. And so it's kind of like human life, highest value, and you should. I would, now in practicality, I would probably fail at that challenge and I would probably save my dog. In fact, I don't even know that it's a probably situation. If I saw my dog suffering and drowning, it only becomes difficult when it's somebody I don't detest. And so, like, if you ask, you know, it's between my partner and my dog, I'm getting a new dog. Like, not to be shitty, but my partner is never losing to my dog. But if it's a random person I don't know, there's probably some part of me that would reluctantly still save the person. But then when it comes into people that I resent, that's where it actually becomes complicated. So I would probably save my dog. I would probably fail. Anyway, that all to bring up, that was like a huge fucking tangent. Hey, people, we are atheists. We are leftists. We'd like to talk to you guys. If you are not those things, if you have a contention with us, you can call in. As MAGA, I don't detest anyone. Why does Jim detest people? I don't believe you. I do not believe you, but you know how to call in. 336-543-2101. MAGA, how many of you are here? Oh, all of that was to say, if I had that Hitler or I had just somebody who wants to exterminate whichever group of people in front of me, whether I would succeed at maintaining my values as a humanist or fail as a humanist, nobody lives up to their moral ideal, is a different question. Okay, let's see.
I would definitely
MAGA.
torture little Hitler. Little Hitler.
Are you trying to pitch a sitcom? Little Hitler.
Wait, no, there was a sitcom. It was called like My Neighbor the Fuhrer or something.
Oh, really?
No, My Neighbor Adolf. That was the title. No, wait, that's a movie. No. What was the name of that sitcom? Sitcom where Hitler was a neighbor. This is real. I'm not even joking. Oh, fuck. That's such a great name. It was called Heil Honey, I'm Home.
Yes, Gohan is still. That's hilarious.
It
yes, Gohan is still on
Hitler.
The line, but I'm not taking it until somebody pays me in advance.
It aired in 1990 for, I think it was only like a couple episodes ever aired. And it starred Hitler, and it was about Hitler and Eva Braun moving in next door to a Jewish couple.
Awful.
Heil Honey, I'm Home it was a British sitcom. Heil Honey, I'm Home is fucking crazy, but also hilarious. Do I need to do a YouTube video on the fucking short-lived Hitler sitcom Heil Honey, I'm Home? Eight episodes were produced, only one ever aired.
Yes, you do. You do have to do that. Let's see. I think the person who is on hold was just repeating our own show, and that's in the screening room. Or something. I don't know. The screen.
Oh, they probably have us on speaker.
Yeah, and they're getting overlap or whatever. MAGA Theus 336-543-2101, 336-543-2101. If you'd like to call and chat, explain to us where we've gone wrong in our beliefs.
Guys, why did MAGA get so excited to pick a head of human health and services to dig cocaine off a toilet seat?
Epic said, if you had a clone with all the same thoughts and beliefs, then it would logically follow that it would want to do all the same things if it could. Therefore, I would punish it every day. But I don't think we punish even evil people on the basis of thought crimes and what they want to do. As soon as they begin doing stuff, for sure. And you can even do like, yeah, the action has begun, even if, you don't have to wait for Hitler to have done the Holocaust, because at some point Hitler is beginning the steps toward the Holocaust. And so there are always actions beforehand, but I don't believe in thought crime. It's just not, that ain't my deal. That ain't my deal. I wonder why that call bailed. Okay. Somebody paid $50. Flibberty says, go ahead and mess with the Gohan. The Gohan. Come on, guys. Let's not elevate it.
If you tell me about the
new
Shroud
belt
again,
sander or some ish.
I'm not even gonna.
What's that?
I said if he talks about the fucking Shroud of Turin,
that's what it's gonna be. We know it's going to be. Okay, Gohan is calling in. Gohan, what are your pronouns?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys doing? I don't really want to give any.
That's too bad. In the chat, you can be referred to as a he, a she, a they, or something else, as there are 1,300 people here. You are at my house. Please remove your shoes and let us know which pronoun you would like the chat to refer to you as.
Yeah, you could, whatever you guys want. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, Gohan, this is much more of a what you want, as that is the way to be respectful. And in the same way that we were respectful in asking you your name, we would like you to now ask which of those pronouns would make you feel the most respected. He, she, they, or something else.
She already said anything. She told you.
It's just dumb. It's like, Gohan, why should we engage you in good faith now when you're not engaging us in good faith? Why should we consider any of your arguments when literally we are asking you the mildest fucking question in the entire world? How would you like chat to refer to you as? We're not asking you if you're cis or trans, a man, a woman, anything. It's that you have called in with an anonymous name and you are calling in, engaging on our show. You would like access to our audience. You would like the currently 1,400 people who are on the line to listen to you. There, by the end of this call, will probably be closer to 2,000, because that's generally how these things go. And all we're asking you, as you call in and go, guys, hear me out. This time on my eighth call, that's about the same thing I've called a few times before. Hear me out in good faith. But when I come into your house, I also am not interested in engaging you in good faith. So I'm going to try this one more time, Gohan. In good faith, you will not be harmed if you answer the question honestly, because you aren't gender fluid. You don't actually not care. So would you like to be referred to as a he, a she, a they, or something else by the live chat?
I'm surprised this is only my 7th call, but honestly, I don't care. If you don't want to talk with me, then that's fine. But if you're game for it,
here's what I'm going to promise you, Gohan, because I know you do care. I know that if in real life people started calling you a she, it would bug you. And I know that to actually respect you and be in a respectful conversation, you don't want to be referred to as a she, but you're going to sit here and pretend that that's not the case, and you're going to engage in clearly bad faith. You and I both know you're doing that. So just know, Gohan, we're going to talk to you, but you have set the precedent that good faith in somebody else's house is not important to you. And you might find that setting that precedent backfires when you are unable to find yourself being taken seriously or engaged in good faith. So would you like to proceed now with your answer of any? Or would you like to set the precedent that you are here in good faith and recognize that you are here as our guest in our house?
No, I'm still good with the answer of any, and I would say
okay, great. So Gohan, do not expect good faith for the remainder of our call. Gohan, how old are you?
I am 33.
In the last 3 elections, who did you vote for?
I only voted for Trump twice. I wish I would have voted 3 times.
Oh, you wish you would have voted 3 times. How do you feel about right now? If Donald Trump was on a ballot this year, would you vote for him again?
On like a 0 to 10 scale, I'm giving him a solid 6 or a 7. And that was not a joke, but yes, a 6 or a 7.
So the fact that he has been actively protecting and obstructing justice toward pedophiles does not change your willingness to vote for him, or it does?
I mean, I disagree with that statement.
Okay, go ahead. Disagree with that statement.
Okay, I do. I disagree that he's actively disrupting the justice.
Cool. Well, we know that Pam Bondi is working at his behest, unlike any other person prior. We know because of Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace that they were brought into his office and essentially threatened with primary challenges if they voted to release, that it wasn't until there was no chance it wasn't going to come out that he pretended to be for it. And now we know after the fact that under his instructions, Pam Bondi has been mass redacting the files to the point where pictures that are of him from public events have his face blacked out, from campaign events have his face blacked out because they have robots doing it. A person doing a typo that says don't, as wrote it accidentally as Don T with no apostrophe, that got redacted. But on top of that, the other redactions are, for example, the 6 men named this week, including a person who is a sultan who was excited, sending emails about the great torture videos and the great setups with kids. And we know that his DOJ, again, which acts at his behest, are not pursuing charges against Americans. And when sent to testify before Congress, Pam Bondi asked, why are we asking about the Epstein files? Here's all of the great things Donald Trump has done. When Donald Trump was asked by a female reporter, Caitlin Collins, who what the victims of the victims of Epstein should be thinking, he complained that she does not smile enough and tells her she should smile more. So not only do we have the active obstruction by threatening, but the ongoing obstruction and the unwillingness to engage in this. What part of that would you disagree demonstrates that he is being an obstructionist and even a supporter of pedophiles?
So I would say that was a lot of information. Pick your favorite or your strongest and ask that question again.
You go ahead and pick it.
This is your argument, buddy. You pick your favorite.
So you pick your favorite one that you can rebut. You pick the one that you can rebut the strongest.
Well, I mean, the reason why I called is a completely different reason. If you're scared to
I know, and I told you that I'm not engaging you in good faith since you wouldn't engage the introduction questions in good faith. So I don't care why you called.
And to me, it just sounds like you're scared to engage in the argument.
I already destroyed you on Gohan. I've already destroyed you on the Shroud of Turin multiple times, so I don't care to engage the actual argument. You are not a person who I think about outside of this show. When I see you pop back up, I'm like, really? This guy came back for more punishment. Maybe it's a fetish thing. Is it a fetish thing? Do you have a humiliation kink?
Hey, don't hate my kink. All right, but
so it is a fetish thing. You are calling for a sexual thrill?
Maybe. You can't.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, thank you. We are going to let you go there because you're admitting it's a sexual thing, which means you've been engaging in a sexual act without asking my consent to participate. Okay, so, Gohan. Yeah. That's what happened, Gohan. Goodbye, Gohan. You're banned, by the way. All right. Well, that's enough of that. Lewis in Texas, a person who I think is going to engage in total good faith, especially because Lewis had no problem telling our screener that his pronouns are he, him, because it's so easy. And then we move on. So we're going to have a good faith discussion with Lewis. Lewis, how old are you?
I am 21.
Okay. And now, Lewis, I am a little bit worried here because I think we're going to engage in good faith, but you've called in the past as a monarchist named Will. And the last time you called, the notes that we put in is this man is definitely a troll. And then you turned out to, in fact, be a troll and yelled slurs after a little bit. Or maybe you played slurs. I don't remember exactly.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. You don't know about calling in as Will 3 days ago?
I don't know who Will is. Can we have a discussion in good faith?
Apparently we didn't know who Will was either.
I'm very curious. Yeah. So 3 days ago, who called with your phone number?
Oh, cool. Hold up. Landon!
Uh-huh.
Landon, get your ass over here. The fuck you
Is
been doing on
Landon
my
your dog?
phone? I don't have a dog. I have a little fucking brother who's an ass. The fuck you been
Oh,
doing?
yeah. Who watches the same
Fuck off,
show,
man.
mind you. And both of you
Oh,
call
fuck.
pretending to be from...
Interesting that we didn't hear a little brother just now.
Right.
All right. Can we have a discussion in good faith or no? 'Cause I'm willing to have
I mean,
a
I doubt
totally
you
normal
can, because
discussion.
last time you called in as a monarchist, now you are saying you're MAGA, and as the grandchild of legal immigrants, I'm the child of eventually a legal immigrant, but first a legal immigrant. People who don't come legally should be sent back. So what's the timer on when you're going to screech out and start yelling slurs? Can you give us some advance notice?
I'm not going to yell slurs.
Dear, can we get that other call screened here? Because I don't think this call is necessarily
Okay,
going
just
to,
FYI, if you do yell a slur, you have to pay me and Jimmy both $20 as a waste our time tax.
Yeah.
So are you verbally agreeing to this?
I'm verbally agreeing not to say a slur. I don't know.
I don't know. Are
what
you verbally
slurs did I
agreeing that if
say
you
last-
do pay a slur, hold on, are you verbally agreeing? Are you entering into a verbally legal binding contract with us that if you do say a slur, you'll have to pay us $20 each as a waste our time tax?
How do I pay you the money?
We both
There's
have
so many
pay
ways.
links. I just want to know,
Oh,
yes or no,
okay.
are you agreeing to this verbal contract?
Sure.
Okay, so Jimmy's going to take your number and send it to his lawyer, just so that way, in case you don't,
Actually, I'm
we
not
can
agreeing
pursue
to any
legal
contract.
action.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
So wait, you weren't agreeing to any contract that was dependent on you
Not
saying
saying a slur.
slurs? And you were so worried that you had already agreed that you couldn't then say the slur before exiting. Goodness sakes. Goodness sakes.
That one was
guys.
crazy. That was funny.
I'm not agreeing. Actually, I'm not agreeing any goodbye. I'm surprised he didn't at least try to go out on a slur. I don't know. All right. If anybody actually calls and wants to engage in good faith, not yell slurs, not defend the same dumb point, not frickin', I don't even know how to describe that shit. Gohan was just, by the way, he said he was 33. I'm pretty sure in the past he said he was 19 or some shit.
That was not the voice of a 33-year-old.
Yeah.
Whose little brother is messing with their phones at 33?
No, Lewis was 21. Gohan said 33.
Oh,
I just don't really
Gohan.
believe it for either of them. 336-543-2101. If you want to call in and explain to us why you voted for Donald Trump and why you would still vote for Donald Trump. In fact, that's really the question of the day. Let's make that center banner. If held today, or would you vote for Trump today? Question mark. That we'll throw that up on the center banner. There.
They want to vote for. They want to. Here, my big question I want to know about from these people is why are we not okay with the fact that a person in the Epstein files emailed Epstein saying your littlest girl was naughty, and the Trump administration redacted that person's name?
Why was that, guys? Why was that?
Why was that name redacted?
I'm willing to start easier because I can understand that a lot of you are like, if I have to defend that, then I can't call in because I can't defend that. And that's a fair, for sure. So all I want to know then is if you know there are those indefensible things, would you still vote for him? And if the answer is yes, why? Why would you still vote for him in that scenario? Anyway.
Seems to me like pedos defend pedos, but that's just I
think it's I think if I'm waiting for the day. You always hear after the fact. You never hear during when it as a person is examining. You never hear a person go, yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe I do vote for a team and I don't really know why. Maybe I'm just on that team and I will defend that team no matter what happens. Maybe that's what it is. Because I think that's for some of you the case. And you're like, I'm examining it right now. Do I actually know what my values are? Or do I know what team my community is on? What team it was established I should be on? Yeah, it's just crazy. Hakeem debates honestly and in good faith. Will Jim take my call? Does Hakeem always talk in the third person?
I have
you've
two
not
topics.
debated honestly. You can call in, and if you debate honestly and in good faith, and I don't remember all the things you did. So if we banned you and you can't get on, that's your fault. But nobody
I have two
who's banned is
topics currently on my stream right now. I have MAGA, are all MAGA, by the way, are uneducated or bad people, which true. And then no compelling external evidence for Christianity.
Yeah,
those are my favorites to run.
I like all that. I'm gonna, y'all in the chat, send $5 super chats so it's easy to see. While we're waiting, I'm putting together a debate menu. You hear
Basically
me?
what I do. Jimmy's just doing what I do.
I'm sorry, your entire career is doing what I do. Anyway,
That's
I'm putting
fucking crazy.
Anyway, I'm putting together a debate menu and I'm trying to make it a nice looking graphic, guys. Let's go ahead and put up some, what was I trying to say? Oh, throw up some super chats of things you think should be on the debate menu. What should it be?
You're going to learn real quick that the audience has
bad ideas?
I wouldn't say bad ideas. Someone said be clear on compelling. You don't know what the word compelling means?
Be clear on what?
You're going to learn real quick that chat doesn't, in my opinion, having asked chat for topics, they're not the best at knowing what topics lead to good debates.
A lot of times I will use, okay, guys, I don't want you to feel used or devalued or whatever. The fact of the matter is most people who are in an audience aren't good YouTubers, because if they were, they'd be busy YouTubing. And so a lot of times the reason why you trust us and come to us is because it is something that we are at least okay at, or some people are even good at. And so the idea is that you are, oh my God, they're not sending their best. The idea is that when we ask for input, often it is the case where it's like, ooh, you probably can help, but don't be very attached to it being in the form that you expected. Like it's kind of almost like a word cloud where I'm like, I'm getting a little bit of creative block right now. Somebody throw out words and I'm going to see if I can turn it into something.
It's like an improv troupe.
Yeah.
9/11.
Bruh. Okay, 9/11 was not an inside job. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. I'm just thinking of the Family Guy improv bit.
9. Oh, wait. Was that, am I thinking of the right show? Was Family Guy the one was like, all right, I need a location, New York City, and I need a date, 9/11.
I don't remember if it was Family Guy or was it Ted? No, it was Ted. It was Ted.
Oh, I've seen the joke elsewhere then.
Oh my God, it's so good, Loki.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, MAGA is anti-science is a good one. I like that. We take that up. I'm sure the screening is going super well right now. At some points, I feel a little bit rude to our gracious and wonderful producer / call screener.
You should.
Yeah, I do. Transphobia is a cult formed by Jeffrey Epstein. It's too abstract, but I like it. I like that some of y'all are trying to be creative there. Liz Chris says, I have no advice because we are called subs for a reason. Yeah, you are. Just like Gohan.
That one is funny.
Same reason Gohan called in. That one's really good. Thank you, Liz
Capitalism ruins everything is pretty good.
That's true.
That's good enough. MAGA's anti-science is okay.
Yeah.
So far, capitalism ruins everything is really good as a topic because it's broad, so you can hit a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, that's true. Right now, I'm just writing the stuff in, and then I'm going to do some graphic design is my passion.
Where's Waldo? That one is a little too long. If you could live forever naturally, would you care about belief in God? It's just too. It's got to be hooky, you know.
Yeah. It is going to be fun. The capitalism ruins everything. I assume a person with any kind of education would call in, but well, I wouldn't assume they would call in. But
how can you say that when the invisible hand runs the economy?
It'd be more like if you wanted to go with a historical case of like, well, capitalism was the system that was gone to after this monarchy fell, and raised people out of poverty. And there are instances where that's true. It just doesn't mean that then the eventuality of that
even Marx
capitalism
acknowledges that capitalism's better than feudalism.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. That's the short version of what I was about to tangent too long for.
It's okay. I know how to make it brief.
No, you don't.
They call me 60-second Jovan for a reason.
That's not the reason we call you that. We call you that. All right, we do have some people in the chat. Oh yeah, let's do just because this is what a person called in last time on. I'm going to do prostitution should be legal. Probably got a show coming up with our favorite prostitute. Adeline will likely be on the show soon, as she is currently a part of a battle to actually unionize. And has been let go as what appears to be a union busting technique, was let go from a brothel for participating in union activity.
My hot take about sex work is that if we got rid of capitalism, sex work would all but disappear.
If we got rid of capitalism, sex work would all but disappear. I don't know if that's true.
There would still be some. But most people aren't getting into sex work if it wasn't for the money. The bulk of people who do sex work do it like any job. Like most jobs would disappear. Sex work, like most not unneeded, but sex work, like most laborious jobs, would disappear, would go the way of the dodo.
I think you're probably right about the majority. However, I do think that I think that the frequency. So I don't think you would see a lot of sex work companies running the way they work, or creators running the way they do. Because I think there are sex workers, like OnlyFans people and stuff, who there is a creative element to what they do that they love. But they also have to do it with a certain frequency to make a certain amount of money. It's kind of like being a YouTuber. There is certain content I love to make, and then I put out the rest of the shit because that's what you guys want.
You would still have people who just like to fuck on camera, right? Or who just like fuck. And
there's
there
an
would still
artistic,
be
sexual, creative expression.
There would still probably be a need for sex work for just people who are unable to get sex in their daily lives, right? But it wouldn't be tied to labor in the way that it is now.
Right,
so
right. It would fundamentally transform.
Different.
I just suspect that as it has sort of persevered through every era and every economic system, it's always existed. Now it's a straight up go-to. Like I was reading this week about people in the USSR who after the USSR fell, basically if you were a girl between the ages of like 9 and 16, as they were adjusting to capitalism for years, they basically all became, in a lot of areas, all became sex workers.
W.
That would be an L. I don't know if you heard the 9 to 16-year-olds.
I was dissociating. Sorry. Fuck. Wait, really?
Yeah. So after the USSR fell, basically as they're like, and now capitalism will take over, literally little girls and a number of boys, but it was disproportionately little girls.
I was dissociating so hard.
That's a hard dissociation. Yeah. That's all I heard was sex work. So I'm going
to. No, literally all I heard was sex work. So I said W.
Yeah. Yep. It happens to the best of us. And in my case, the most mediocre of us.
Everybody's clipping that clip out.
Yep. Yeah. Someone just wrote clipped. All right, let's find out here. Let's see. Sam in Georgia is calling in to claim that capitalism doesn't ruin technology. Sam, first things first, how old are you? And Sam's pronouns are they, them. Sam, how old are you?
Oh, I didn't want to, give my exact age, but I'm old enough to have done vote in the previous elections, and no, I did not vote for Trump.
Are you over 20?
Yes.
Sound familiar, Sam? Have we talked before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Back in November, they called. Would you call Adeline and I? Who'd you call to say prostitution should be illegal back in November?
Oh, I wouldn't remember, but yeah, I called the show before. Yes, I think I spoke to Adeline.
Have you changed your mind on that yet? Do you accept that actually prostitution should be legal?
No, I haven't changed my mind.
Have you examined, because I think I brought you these challenges of the outcomes for sex workers in areas where it's illegal versus legal, and how illegalizing it actually creates basically black markets for abuse and sexual slavery. Legalizing it does the opposite. It's very much can introduce safety and can introduce it's a very positive thing. Did you look into that after, or did you just leave that call and do nothing?
Oh, well, I guess I should thank you for calling me out. Like, yeah, I guess because I still have the views where I remember how you ended the call. You said it seems like I had some ideas that horniness in general is bad, and like, yeah, I guess I still have that view. So yeah, I still think prostitution should still be legal.
Yeah. Oh, so you do still also think horniness is bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love being horny.
What makes horniness bad specifically? We'll get to the technology thing,
mostly.
but I'm curious, like, what makes it bad?
Oh, well, I guess I have to be honest, like how I was the last time, and just say, like, I was raised to believe that way. And I understand, like, if I wasn't raised to believe that way, I guess I would be more in the norm. I guess I kind of am an outlier.
But Sam, we're not talking about how you were raised to believe, because we're all raised to believe different shit. You have a legal position. You believe legally prostitution should be illegal, and it is on the basis that horniness is bad. So you now need to make a legal case. So what is the factual basis that either prostitution should be illegal or that horniness is bad that you would pass a law against? Not that, Sam, you don't ever want to engage a prostitute. If you feel like horniness is bad and you want to eat a dry potato every time you get a wiggle, you go eat a dry potato, okay? But why should there be a legal regulation against prostitution?
It's difficult for me to change from where, like, I began on thinking. Like, I guess my thought is still the same. On constructing a legal argument, on going ahead and basing it. Like, I guess I wouldn't. This is something where I guess I could acknowledge, like, yes, I was indoctrinated into this. I've thought about this.
But indoctrinated in what way? Like, when you say that when you say that, like, horniness is bad, do you mean like it's morally bad? Like, it's bad if someone experiences the sensation of being aroused?
Correct.
What? Is it bad if I breathe?
Oh, this is Jovan. Jovan, you can help me out here. Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, I was raised to believe this.
Sure, but I don't know what way to help you out here. Wouldn't you, like, it would seem that you can acknowledge you were raised to believe this way, but can you also acknowledge that maybe the way you were raised was wrong?
Yeah. It doesn't mean I could change it.
Yes, it does. That's quite literally, like, the base things humans do is change is like our number one thing.
I mean, Sam, what's literally stopping you from saying, okay, this belief that I have, I acknowledge is indoctrination. Therefore, while I'm still unable to drop the belief, I still tend to feel like horniness is bad because I'm so deeply programmed. I will make the choice that I'm not going to vote against other people's rights for that or anything that I only have essentially a religious justification for.
Wouldn't I have to be educated in the other direction first?
Sorry, what?
Wouldn't I have to be educated in the other direction first to change my mind?
No, you literally don't. You literally don't ever have to say, if you can acknowledge that you have a gap in your knowledge, therefore you are not an informed debater, therefore on that specific issue, you don't have a good reason to vote, you can simply abstain. Yes, it's up to you. Now you should go educate yourself on the inverse. But you've said you don't think prostitution should be legal because essentially it gives you a bad feeling that comes from your religious upbringing. By the way, I do want to point out Sam, it's basically impossible that you're a leftist. Like, to have these positions of that you would legally enforce restrictions on people's rights on the basis of religious indoctrination, and because you haven't learned better, a better thing to vote for, you'd still vote the way that you acknowledge would be bad. I don't know how to make that compatible with leftism, but you've told our screener you're a leftist.
May I say why I think I'm a leftist?
Yes.
I spend a lot of time at work arguing with my coworkers that, like, yes, the things that ICE is doing is very bad, that pretty much every single U.S. president is bad, because when we ended slavery, first of all, how many presidents it took before we even got to Lincoln, and then we wrote an exception to keep slavery. Like, that's why I think I'm a leftist, because I agree with Jovan. The prison system should be abolished. We should come up with something different than the police that we have right now.
Sure. So you do have
I don't want to get too far off of this. What, Sam, do you think that arousal is just a natural feeling that most animals are capable of?
Never really thought about it.
Okay. Never really thought about it. Okay.
Sam, so
I can give you the answer. The answer is yes, it is.
Responding to what he said real quick about yes, you have some beliefs that are compatible with leftism. Technically, so do people. There are MAGA people who think what ICE is doing is wrong. Not a lot of them. There's certainly Republicans. There are individual things you said that sound a little bit more compatible. But Sam, having those things be compatible with leftism, but then having a belief like your sexual autonomy is not a personal choice for you, and that should be legally limited by your religious indoctrination, would be very anti-leftist. It's a bit like saying I believe in democracy except for I like slaves.
I don't know. I'm the person who is able to go ahead and point out to people, you all are grown adults and haven't read and saw an Exodus and also saw what Jesus said, slaves obey your master. Like, I don't know. This is why I think I'm a leftist.
Are you Christian, Sam?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay. Do you think people come back from the dead?
Not right now. Like, I believe that in the future, like, we will. Like, I'm not sure how much detail you want.
Okay, just really quickly, there's not going to be a way to logic yourself out of this position on the arousal thing, because you didn't logic yourself into this position. So if you want to get out of that position, if you're like, oh, I would like to believe something else, I don't want to believe this position anymore, you're going to have to do that your own, because we can't give you logic to break you out of non-logic.
We'll go to your topic that you called in with, since I feel like you've just got so much, ironically, I'll call it soul searching to do, because you legitimately think that you're a leftist, but you also believe that your religion should limit what other people can. If you can come up with a legal, devoid of religion argument for illegalizing prostitution, fine, but we live in a country with separation of church and state. So you can't rely on your religious fifis. Anyway, you've called in, and your claim is, in response to Jovan says capitalism ruins everything. Your response is capitalism doesn't ruin technology. Would you like to further support that? Because I feel both Jovan and I will have pithy responses for why that's absurd.
Oh, okay. Well, the whole reason why I think that we have capitalism is just that I think the old way with indigenous tribes is that people would just live their life and just like your existence would just be more of just like a peaceful one, just existing with your family. But with capitalism and with the greed, which I think both me and you could talk about the evils of that, people tend to raise an army to protect their own, way of life. Like I see that as being the point of capitalism, to extract resources from the people to go ahead and create an army, and then that will be driving the technology, and that will be what you get from capitalism.
I don't even know where to start. Sam,
I couldn't track any of that.
What is your source on the government functionality of an indigenous tribe? Because it seems like you think your options are capitalism or family level unit sized communism, based on what you're saying is indigenous tribe families. What in the world is this dichotomy you've presented? Hello?
I'm sorry.
Is the alternative to capitalism only family-sized communism?
I mean, that would be the ideal alternative. Like, that would be actually what I would want.
Which would be the ideal? But we're not.
I'm sorry you don't see that as an ideal.
You called in claiming that capitalism doesn't ruin technology by contrasting it to family-sized communism. Well, if that's our two choices, then we are cooked, guys. The only medicine you have will be the ones that your family members have invented. That's crazy, Sam.
Man, it would be nice to know how to make medicine.
Sam, I'm going to give you a sentence.
What?
I'm going to give you a sentence.
What is happening?
I'm going to give you two sentences. They're very similar. They have a blank in them. The first one is, innovation under capitalism serves the blank good. But the blank is what you're going to fill. And then under socialism, innovation under socialism serves the blank good. So let's do the first one. Capitalism. Innovation under capitalism serves the blank good or the good of blank. What is the fill in?
I have no idea.
It would be capital. The hint was in the name. Under capitalism, innovation serves the capital good. In other words, it chases what will make the most money. Under socialism, and I'll give you a hint, it's the same type of hint from the name. Under socialism, innovation serves the blank good. What's the blank this time?
Society?
Social. You're close enough. The social good. In other words, it will maximize serving the good of people. So in a capitalist society, you have innovations for medications. We're just going to go with the medical industry. For medications that will serve you to treat your symptoms. But if they can milk you for a lifetime of albuterol inhalers instead of giving you a single therapy to heal your asthma, in a capitalist system, you're more likely to get the lifetime of inhalers, and in a socialist system, you're more likely to get the cure. And these are the types of things that we've had leak from people, from pharmaceutical companies, that literally, if you even start researching something that would be a more short-term, low-cost cure for something, you're put on a different project. They way prefer long-term therapeutics because that spells profit. So you say capitalism doesn't ruin technology. Well, I say capitalism means that we chase technologically capital good. We get a barely small improvement to an iPhone year over year, and we could have used those resources and those minds and those people to develop better medicines, better technology that actually serves the social good. So what is your rebuttal then to what I've just stated to you? That is how capitalism does in fact ruin technology by prioritizing the capital good in its technological innovation over the social good.
Oh, we're beginning to agree now. Like I go ahead and see now where copyright system, where it's just kind of like you'll be stuck now for longer with the crappy product versus where in China, like as soon as somebody learns how to make better, we have better.
I don't think you understood me at all.
No, he's
No?
he's on the track. I mean, it's like with Apple and how Apple has lobbied in the U.S. to keep Huawei phones out of the U.S. because they're so much cheaper that they'll ruin their market. So he's saying
Oh, I
in
see.
regard to the
He's
way
talking
that
about the
like
way capitalism bars out
Yeah.
more socialist countries from competing.
it bars out innovation.
Right. But that wasn't at all what I was talking about at all. It was more like,
I'm sorry.
what's more important, that we have a new iPhone this year or a medication that lowers the occurrences of colorectal cancer, which is currently exploding amongst young people by, let's say, even 20%?
Oh, me and you will agree that there are some stifling of technology. I just thought that when it came down to war, that capitalism would always be better, and that would be my debate topic.
War?
War never changes.
Why would it be better? Why would it be better there?
Isn't it bad that capitalism
Because
is better
of the
at war?
capitalist. Yeah. See, I said I'm a leftist, and that ideally would be the family communism. But like I could just say the one thing with capitalism that it doesn't destroy is that you would still be the dominant military country in the world if you're capitalist, because capitalists are greedy.
I don't want us to be
I don't want us to be the dominant
military country.
Me neither.
Wait.
Me neither. But I just would say, like, for capitalism, that's the one thing it has going for it. It will make you the dominant military country. That's the one thing it won't destroy.
Well, then what you're saying is the only positive of capitalism is a negative.
Hey, yeah. Sam, do powerful capitalist countries go to war more often for the capital good or the social good?
For the capitalist good?
Right. No, not capitalist good, the capital good. So when you're saying we'll be better at war, we'll also be going to war and killing people over things like crude oil that's so crude nobody even wants to refine it. Whereas if we lived in a socialist world and then we're still having discussions about like going to war with North Korea because there is a human right, man, there are people on the r/socialism thing right now that I'm just like, you guys that think that North Korea, they have some wild, sometimes our own side drives me crazy. They have some wild conspiracies. They just don't believe victims, I guess, that come out of North Korea, or plenty of intelligence that's not American that we can look to. North Korea is not a good place, and any of you people who think North Korea is secretly like this great democratic bastion of and the Kims are actually duly elected. You guys are crazy. You guys are actually crazy. Anyway, that was a little aside because that's just driving me nuts lately. Sam, Jimmy, I don't think you're following the conversation very much, and so we may move on here in a second, but literally you're describing that we'll be better at innovating at war, but that's also because we're going to be going to war more often under the guise of like, we have to go and free these people, but really we're there to steal resources, to take resources, to prop up an industry, a war industry. So we're innovating to be better killers so that we here at home will be alive more and we'll be able to have more consumerism, and the values of people who live in other places with different colored skin and different religions and different languages, those people's lives don't matter. So I would argue that if you're saying capitalism makes a country better at war and also promotes them going to war more because they serve the capital good, that would be the perfect explanation of why capitalism has ruined, in your case, technology.
Jimmy. Oh, okay. Could you please help me argue against my coworkers? Because like I would have this argument with them, and they'll be like, "Well, hey, I don't want to be the Indians sitting there, and then somebody else come by and conquers us with their guns, and just kind of like, yeah, with capitalism, we will be the strongest people. We'll be able to protect our way of life."
Have them call me.
What way of life do they want to protect? Working all day, working 9 to 5.
God, I'm loving
what
this
it takes
wage
to make
cutting.
a living. You know,
Yeah, yes, they
all
like that,
take
and they
and then no
argue for that.
giving. Like, that's
Everyone
what they
has to
want.
work.
Working 3 jobs to own no assets, to have no capital, because capitalism
it's-
means you are born into a winning or losing team, and your chances of breaking free
Yes,
of
and
that
they
are very
see
low.
yes, and the other side they see their home country. They see like, well, I don't want to live in Cuba.
Cuba has better
what's wrong
medical
with
outcomes
Cuba?
than America. Cuba has more poverty, but they literally have better medical outcomes. So if you are sick, you're better off in Cuba.
There are so many Cubans who like love living in Cuba, right?
Yeah, but these guys are from there, and they tell me about how it's bad and how we have like better with capitalism here, and like,
Are they from there as in they were born there? Or are they from there as in like they moved here as babies because their
born
parents
there.
left there? Yeah, but like when did they leave? Like it's a really big distinction amongst Cubans.
most of them teenagers.
Mm.
Most of them less as teenagers.
Like I just
Only like 2 of them left in adulthood.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. It might be a little controversial. I don't really care if somebody was a teenager when they left a country and they think they know the country better than people who study the country. They probably don't. They probably actually don't know much about the country.
And even if they had a horrible experience, literally like the worst things about Cuba are results of the poverty of all the things America has done to it. And that's the one that you're defending, Sam.
But this is why I say I'm a leftist, because I tell them this every day. Like, if you have, like, America has their military base there, Guantanamo Bay. Cuba doesn't want them there. We're forcing them, like we're obviously controlling Cuba. This is why I say I'm a leftist. Even though I think
if you want our
is
help
bad.
with them, have them call us. Because you called in still defending something. You still are holding beliefs. Honestly, like Sam, at the end of the day, you seem like a good person, probably, but I don't want you representing. As far as arguments going, you might be doing more damage. If at the end of the day, I can know you, Sam, and go, just so you know, all of this eventually ends. Sam does vote and Sam does impose his beliefs legally based on his religious beliefs. So there are literally, you're acting like you value. Argue with them, because a good argument will break through. But good arguments haven't broken through some of your legal beliefs that you say you hold on a religious basis. So Sam, I think we just move on there and just ask you to tell your coworkers to call us. Because I would say, like, again, you seem nice enough, but I don't trust you to represent leftism.
Okay. Well, I thank you for taking my call. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jovan.
Thanks, Sam.
Oh, can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Michael Jackson never had a problem giving his pronouns. He always said, hee.
That's all right. Thanks, Sam.
He kind of endeared me with that at the end. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That was pretty cute. That was pretty sweet. Let's see. Yeah, we don't take anonymous callers, people. Do you have a preference on the guys here?
First call stupid. Hakeem's reason is stupid. 5 doesn't make sense since we've literally already said that we're socialists and communists.
Well, we gotta take them.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with just go down the list.
All right.
Start with the first one and just go down the list.
I'm gonna go pee. You can take. I've taken care of Tim enough times. Have you been on with me with Tim?
I don't recognize Tim in any way, shape, or form.
So Tim is basically going to begin with. He's going to try to skip right past what any of these things mean and assume that, like, his understanding of what white guilt should be is what people's understanding is, what it means to say no, people are illegal on stolen land, that must mean specifically what he thinks it means, not what the movements, for example, actually mean, or not what the representatives do. When I asked him for his understanding of what he was wanting me to engage for, like, a single representative, he just kept going, I'm talking to you. And my version of the things were already very different than what he was saying represented. He doesn't think Billie Eilish should be allowed to say stuff like that. And basically what I told him is he should leave because we live in a country that's actually built to be changed and to update. And if he doesn't like that, he should go. And he didn't like that much.
All right, well,
so
I'll introduce him to my logic questions, and we'll see.
I'm excited for it. All right, Tim. Goes. Tim from New York is once again on the line. This time I'm giving him to Jovan. I'll even go pee. I'll try and keep my best behavior. And you're going to talk to Jovan about why not itemize white guilt? Why do all white people need the same level of guilt? These are totally not well-poisoned questions from the onset. We should just skip back and just accept the premise. Tim from New York, you're on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. Here's Jovan.
Hello, Tim.
Sure, Jimmy, and can I just say, I think Billie Eilish should be able to say whatever she wants. I just think she looks stupid when she says it.
I don't care about Billie Eilish. Tim, before we begin, I have a couple of questions for you, okay?
Sure.
Great. Question 1, do you agree to have your logic tested? This involves being asked hypothetical questions, following arguments to the logical conclusion, and clarifying definitions when necessary.
Sure.
Great. And question number 2, are you open to revising or conceding a point if a contradiction or inconsistency is demonstrated?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
And
Tim, I would like a simple, just to keep us on track, I'd like a simple syllogism of your stance, and I will write that syllogism down so that there is no miscommunication between what your stance is and what I believe your stance to be.
Okay, I think it's absurd for the various groups of people considered white people who come from a
Tim, I have to
Sure.
stop you. I asked you for a simple syllogism. That's not a syllogism. Would you like me to tell you what a syllogism is?
Oh, I'm sorry. If X. Okay, sure. Because the various ethnic groups which are considered white played varying roles in.
I'm sorry, is this P1 or P2? Is this P1 or P2?
Okay. P1, because the varying groups of people considered white had different roles to play in the harms towards so-called non-white people. They should not be treated with the same level of guilt or demonization.
You're just doing premise 1 conclusion? There's no premise 2?
Premise 1, okay. There are varying groups of people considered white. Okay.
The P1, there's various groups of people considered white.
P2, each group committed different harms or lack thereof, and that concludes as, therefore, they should not be treated exactly the same.
Conclusion, therefore, they should not be treated the same.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to read your syllogism back to you. I want to make sure that it is completely accurate and that I got nothing incorrect in your syllogism so we can engage in the debate proper, okay?
Sure.
And this is going to be the stance you hold. Okay? Right. P1.
Can I add one caveat though? Can I add one caveat?
Can you add one caveat?
Yeah, this is only if we're going to treat groups differently.
If we're going to treat groups differently, what are you talking about?
If we're going to look at historical wrongs or the past, basically, before we judge certain groups or, award them benefits or whichever, then therefore this syllogism, but only if we're going to treat the groups differently, because I don't necessarily think we should, but if we are going to, then this is how we should not treat every white group the same. Does that make sense?
Well, that would be the entirety of your syllogism, right?
Sure.
Or actually, it would be operating against your syllogism. Your syllogism is saying we should not treat these groups the same, but now you're saying we should if we treat, or you're saying we should not treat these groups the same, but now you're saying no, we should actually treat all groups the same. So it is counter to what your syllogism is.
Well, if we're going to treat if we're going to treat, let's say larger groups like Black, White, Native American, Latino, if we're going to treat them differently, then we need to treat these smaller groups differently too among white people.
Sure, if you want to make that caveat, you can.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to read the syllogism again. I want to make sure that I have your syllogism 100%, so that there is no possible way of us having this argument butt heads, because I'm just repeating back to you what you said, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Great. P1, there are various groups of people considered white. P2, each group committed different harms or lack thereof. Conclusion, therefore, they should not be treated the same.
And then with the caveat that if we are going to treat, only if we are treating different racial groups separately or differently. Thank you.
Sure. I'm going to give you my syllogism for my argument against this, okay?
Sure.
Right. P1, social groups can inherit advantages or disadvantages created by historical actions of that social group, correct? Would you agree with that, P1?
Yeah. Sure.
Great. Wonderful. P2, when present members of a group continue to benefit from historical injustices, those injustices remain historically and socially active. We good with P2?
I need to ask you, is that only, are you saying basically, is this like silence is violence? Is that what you're saying right now? Like, more or less, like if they're not going out of their way to do something extra to dispel the privilege?
It just means that if members of that group are currently receiving the benefits that come from the advantages that come from historic actions made by that group, then those injustices are still active currently. They aren't something of the past. They are still active injustices.
Sorry. Only its own predecessors, right? Not a different group, right?
That would be baked into the syllogism from members of the group.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
So I'm going to repeat it just so that we have the two premises so far. P1, social groups can inherit advantages and disadvantages created by historical actions of said social group. P2, when present members of a group continue to benefit from historical injustices, those injustices remain socially active. Okay, we're good so far.
Sure.
Great. P3, justice would permit imposing some semblance of obligation on the people who benefit from those systems, even if they did not personally commit the harm. In order for there to be justice, a person benefiting from an unfair system would be obligated to, would have some semblance of obligation to that justice.
Okay, but would you say if the obligation is greater than the harm,
We'll get to that.
the benefit?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're just trying to get the base level of it. Okay. But you would agree justice permits imposing obligations on those who benefit from an unjust system, even if they did not personally cause the unjust system. So an example of this would be if I have, I don't know, if I have some rich dude who steals a bunch of money from a town. Part of justice might be that rich dude has to give his money back to the town, even if that harms his kids who are using and benefiting from that money, because the money was never theirs to begin with, or because that, justice needs to be entailed here. That's just a base level example.
I have some trouble with this. I don't know. I don't know if I can.
Well, once I finish my syllogism, we can. Once I finish my syllogism,
sure.
we can analyze that a little bit. Conclusion to this, the conclusion is therefore members of groups that benefit from historical injustices can legitimately bear responsibility to address those injustices. That would be the conclusion of my three premises. Okay.
Okay, and you can argue for that, sure.
Great. So we understand the two positions we both hold. So now we can engage in the debate. There will be no amount of sophistry here. We have fully engaged in understanding each other's positions. So I will start with a disagreement in something you said. While there are different social groups that are white, all social groups that are white benefit from the historic injustices of white supremacy. Every white social group benefits from this.
Okay, and you think that therefore they have an obligation?
And I think therefore, yes, that would follow with my syllogism, yes. Because they are benefiting from a historic injustice, there is an obligation to right that injustice.
Sure. And now, for instance, can I ask you, though, if it was not their predecessors themselves? You said it's based on the group's predecessors itself, but now you're saying even if you weren't the same type of
Nope. You missed something. You missed something there. Okay. Remember, I said social groups can inherit advantages and disadvantages created by historic actions of that group. White is the social group here. So even if it wasn't their ancestors, they are still white, so they've inherited the benefits of being white from the group. White is a social group.
Okay, so then by that logic, what stops you from grouping everyone you want to owe you into one massive group that then has a shared guilt?
Shared guilt from what? What would give me an example?
Because one subset committed a harm, so you want a specific. Well, the specific example is that the Anglo-American slave trade and practice of slavery. That there were a few. There were Scottish people. There were some other people that did it, but it was a heavily Anglo-American practice. So you want to hand this guilt over to every the Irish, the Germans, the Polish, every other group.
Is the guilt built on the backs of white supremacy? Right. So it's not that I'm handing down anything. You're the one I'm not handing anything down by nationality. Right. So I'm not doing that inherently because the guilt is born about via white supremacy. So because the tool that created the oppression was white supremacy, I would be looking at white here, just like I would entail every man has a duty and obligation to try to rid the patriarchy, because we all benefit from the patriarchy. Just like I would say all there's some others I could think of if I if I wanted to, but we can actually just use that as an example. I would say that, just like I would say all white people have an obligation to try to write a system that benefits them over somebody else. So as long as there is that benefit that white people experience, then yes, they would have that obligation of duty.
An obligation of duty. So even if their predecessors themselves fought against it, let's say you're
Correct. They still benefit from it.
If your family was a migrant to the northern United States and they fought for the Union Army, you don't get it. There's no.
Yep. What I would say is, here's what I would say. That ancestor of mine is doing what I'm telling them to now do. That ancestor took it upon themselves, even though they were not actively engaging in slavery, recognizing their role in white supremacy and took up their obligation to try to correct a white supremacist wrong. Just because they did that, though, doesn't mean that I don't still entail that obligation, as long as that system still benefits white people.
So, for instance, if some Slavic person across the world who has nothing to do with American slavery, if they step foot in America, then they have to step foot in America. I don't even know if they're across the world and they're on social media. They have some.
I can't think of a single place on the globe that has not been touched by white supremacy. If you know of a place where white supremacy has not reached, that would be interesting to me to hear. But even in Slavic countries, I don't know if you've seen how black people are treated in Slavic countries. White supremacy still permeates. So because white supremacy is the tool and metric we're using here, then yeah, they would still have an obligation to try to end this social injustice.
And their obligation is completely identical to someone whose family was completely complicit. It's identical in your eyes.
Yeah, I don't know why I would split hairs about the. Yeah, I just said I don't know why I would split hairs about the type of obligation. I don't know what you mean by identical. I'm unsure of how you're using that phrase here. I just wouldn't split hairs about the obligation, right? It's just that you're obligated. I don't even know that there would be a sliding scale here. It's just you're either obligated or not obligated.
So you think someone alive today, just to be clear, someone alive today, they still get, let's say they still have money directly from their plantation owning ancestors. You think that person has an equal amount of responsibility to somebody who had nothing to do with slavery? Their family was not even considered.
Yes, because you're missing we addressed this in my syllogism, right? You're forgetting what my syllogism is about. It's not about whether doing the action. It's about the benefit you received from the social injustice. So both of these people are receiving a benefit from being white. So because they are both receiving that benefit, they both have an obligation. Would I say that the person who if you have money directly tied to plantation ownership, that it might be a slightly different way you engage in the way you fight that injustice? Possibly. Right. I wouldn't tell that person with the money to give the money to somebody unless they can directly tie oh, hey, my family stole oil from this black family and this black family still exists. Then, yeah, I think you might have a different set of obligation because there's a direct tie there. But that wouldn't be because that obligation now isn't because of white supremacy. It's just because of base level theft. Right. But if we're talking simply about a white person and their obligation in the social hierarchy due to white supremacy, then yes, the obligations would be directly the same.
But I asked you when we were going over your syllogism, I said, are you speaking only about their predecessors? And you seem to say yes. So there's a little confusion. It doesn't have to be their predecessors.
What are you missing? Because I can square the circle very easily. I said that there would be a difference if you can show harm bred on theft, right? If I can show that my family directly stole from your family, then it's not just a white supremacist thing, right? You're combining all of these things. I'm keeping them separate. So what I am saying is when we're looking at white supremacy and whether social groups have some sort of obligation to to social justice in some way, the obligation would be brought about by the benefit they received from being placed in the higher on the social hierarchy. If I'm going to look at an obligation an individual has, that can be tied to that individual's past, the past of their family, things like that. I say if you're a multi-billionaire, and even if whether you're white or black, if I was a multi-billionaire who found out that the only reason my family is a multi-billionaire is because they stole from, for instance, Jimmy's family, like we stole a patent from his grandfather. Have you seen Zootopia 2? Literally, it's Zootopia 2. So like if I find out that my family's only rich because they stole something from somebody else to get that wealth, then yeah, I think I might have a different level of moral obligation to fixing that individual situation. But now if we want to talk about the broader societal thing, this is Zootopia 1. If I as the predator realize that in the social hierarchy I'm harming the prey animals, then I have an obligation as being a part of the predator class to fight that social injustice to make sure that both predators and prey are on equal playing fields.
Okay, now within that framework of, I assume this is like between races, but different, like I said, different white groups had, perpetuated different harms or lack thereof, or were harmed themselves because they were the out group. So do you think, is it an issue to you, for instance, that like the Irish, while this white supremacy was, going on in other places, in their own island,
Ron,
they
just
were
make sure
being
you see we have
starved
other
to death.
calls, as the caller is now asking questions that you've already addressed, just with the different, like, I can tell you from just listening to Jovan, if you currently benefit, doesn't matter the history of the Irish. I'm Irish. I currently benefit from white supremacy. Therefore, I must participate in solving the injustice. We have a lot of other calls, and now we're circling.
I can just give a really easy analogy, and hopefully that squares the circle again one last time.
You can even take the next call. For the record, someone in the comments will say, I just can't stand not talking. I just am bored of circling. So if I don't mind if Jovan takes the next call,
I'll give one last analogy here. I think all white people need to fight against the social injustice of white supremacy. I think only the French need to pay reparations to Haiti to what France did to Haiti. That should be the explanation needed on that. I think that pretty much
So only
the point.
Anglo-Americans need to pay for slavery and the injustices caused by Jim Crow.
If I was to run, no, it would be Americans, right? America engaged in reparation or engaged in slavery.
In the North.
So America as a country, slavery was in the North. Anyone that says slavery didn't exist in the North is an idiot.
It
Doesn't matter. So now the goalpost has moved. Now the goalpost has moved, Tim.
Okay.
Slavery happened in the North, and America as a whole benefited from slavery. The only reason America became a financial power at that time is because of slavery. America as a whole, both the North and the South, benefited from slavery. So because America as a whole benefited from slavery, America as a whole should try to fix the social injustices caused by slavery. I feel like I'm being so very clear on this.
Tim, just ask yourself for your next question, whatever your next question is, does that group benefit from white supremacy? If the answer is yes, then they need to participate in the.
You have to define white supremacy for me.
Great. Bye, Tim. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I
feel like next time.
I feel like if you wanted me to define white supremacy, you should have asked me to do it 10 minutes ago on the call when we were talking about it.
Yeah. It's not like you came in and defined guilt.
I just want to say I handed him his ass.
Yeah, great job.
Some people you got to just rudimentary debate level it. Like
he'll call again. literally, I'm not even joking. I decided to. So, by the way, people, if there's ever comments you want me to see, I'm a little Trumpian in this way. We get thousands of comments a day. So I filter by the word Jimmy to see what people are trying to address to me. So if there's a comment you more want to stick out to me, put my name in there. Because right now it's usually dicks. Usually it's people who are using my name to be dicks. But anyway, while we were doing that, I'm not even joking. 3 hours ago, someone wrote, I genuinely think Tim has a crush on Jimmy. The way he calls him so many times and always has a miserable time and yet crawls back for more is alarming to say the least. I read that while we were doing that.
I had, for that entire call, I've been running around 7-day suites, like just the outside doing a POI.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've just been running in circles doing a POI.
Closed it. I think I am, unless somebody else from the line picks it up. I think I'm actually filling in for Forrest next show too, but we'll find out here for sure.
That's
what's
good.
happening.
I said that I would pick it up if nobody else does, but please God, let somebody else pick it up.
If you want it more than I want it, you can have it. Owen's great.
Exhausted.
If you haven't met Owen, you definitely should.
I would love to do an after dark with Owen. I need to know about it ahead of time.
With more time.
I'm exhausted. Prepare. You probably got more sleep than I did last night.
I did not sleep well, but maybe I'm having some tummy issues.
Well, let's I
want to prioritize some of these newer callers because there's more hope in the new ones.
That's true.
Yeah, I kind of want to try Jake out. Jake in Colorado. I love Colorado. Jake, how old are you?
I'm 26, sir. How about yourself?
Jake is 26. I will be 36 in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks almost. I'm getting close.
Bag.
And I'm getting old.
Happy early birthday.
I'll be 33 in a month.
Jake has already shared that his pronouns are he, him. It's a theist calling in, staying away from the political topics today, just for my own curiosity, though, Jake, because we do often go real political. You more a Trump guy?
No, God, no. Actually, one of the points I wanted to make to anybody who is a quote-unquote Christian nationalist, being a Christian nationalist is actually the least Christian thing that you can do, mainly because of what we're seeing with ICE. And one of the things that Jesus directly said in the Bible was to care for the foreigner, to care for the orphans. And I do not see that from any of this administration or any of his followers. The MAGA.
I'll give you a W on that one, Jake.
But Jake, now you do have a contention to call in with, and that's what we really want.
Yes,
you would like to contend about the historicity, I believe, of Jesus Christ. Is that correct?
Yes.
Give it to me.
So, whether or not you believe, I'm not arguing for the theistic point of view. Maybe I could have worded it better in the screening, but I wanted to argue the historicity of Jesus Christ, whether or not he was God. And
real quick, Jake, then I would recommend you call when John Gleason's on the line, if that's really the main thing. I have no dog in the game of the historicity of Jesus. Clearly, Jesus as a historical figure, he has been designated a historical figure. Clearly, to become a historical figure does not take the same amount of evidence that it requires to be a fact, like a scientific fact or something that's scientific. Clearly, also, he even has gotten some exceptions made compared to other individuals because he exists so ubiquitously in culture. So he is getting a little bit of special exception. But as I've said many times, I'm not a mythicist. If you want to claim that the resurrection of Jesus Christ happened, that Jesus did the miracles, those types of things, and that there's good historical reasons to believe the Bible, that would be one thing. But at the end of the day, if you just want to say you believe the threshold to accept that a man like Jesus existed, some of the stories about him might be true, but we'll never know which ones. Okay, I accept.
Yeah, did you call off of my stream or off of Jimmy's stream?
I called off of your stream. One of the notes that I point is
Yeah, let me just clarify. So the point of there's no compelling external evidence for Christianity would be talking about the Christian claim, which is that Jesus was divine, like Jimmy said. Christianity is not true if Jesus just existed. It's only true if Jesus was divine. So that
everybody
would be
spam chat with that. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done with your sentence. Finish your sentence.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Everybody spam chat with a happy birthday for Lunar.
Happy birthday, Lunar.
Jake, do you have any sort of so you do accept the resurrection of Jesus Christ is true, right?
Yes.
Do you have any reason more compelling than faith?
So, besides faith, I think one of the most compelling evidences is the deaths of the apostles, because all of them died pretty violent, horrific deaths, except for John, who was believed to die of old age. But
when a person accepts let's just say hypothetically, Jake, I know you don't believe this, but let's say hypothetically Jesus existed and was a cult leader, but he wasn't the Son of God. Does a person know how they're going to die before they buy into the cult?
No.
Right. So, like, have you watched the documentary about the Mother God cult?
I don't believe I'm familiar with that. Could you do you know the name of it so I could look it up?
No, but it's on HBO. But just type in Mother God, you'll find it. Just documentary. Anyway, there you don't even have to worry about the apostles. Mother God believed she was Mother God so much that she died horrifically by her own poison, by drinking colloidal silver because she believed in its magical properties. So the consequences and the reasons leading up to a death. Joseph Smith, today, there are people who would love to go die for Joseph Smith in horrific ways if they could. There's no doubt Joseph Smith was a very compelling leader. As far as like martyr religions go, like Christianity used to be the big show in town. Now you get some other Abrahamic religions producing a little bit more people willing to die horrifically for their religious figure and religious belief. So there's just too much history, Jake, of people dying historically for things you won't believe in. And keep in mind that every single thing that you're describing, Jake, every single death you will describe will be a death method created for people of different beliefs and for breaking different laws. So there will have been people who were willing to die in the same way that any of the apostles died because they also used that for people who did certain things in the name of paganism. Or they also used it for like, boy, that guy found stealing so compelling he was willing to be hung by his rib cage in a hook. Or I'm just making up shit at this point as far as like
an example I want to use on that really quickly, Jimmy, if I could, is Muhammad had apostles who died for him, who we actually have more evidence existed because people living wrote about those apostles at the time of their life than we do for the apostles of Christ. So if, like Jimmy said, if it's just the case of people died for this so it's true, then why wouldn't I believe Islam over Christianity?
Bro, people die for America horrifically. That's how cringy it is, Jake.
Those are fair points. You know, you guys definitely have fair points. I wouldn't say that's my only reason why I believe that.
I got you.
No, we don't. We don't think it's your only reason.
So, Jake, if I can summarize your point without dismissing it, would you say, I think there's something to add to the argument while acknowledging it doesn't win the argument? It doesn't even really make the argument. But it is important to me that there were convictions of truth that people were willing to actually die for, and that to you is evidence that it's compelling to you.
Yeah, that's a fair way of putting it. I wouldn't say that's my main reason for believing. Like, if we were to get down to brass tacks, I think ultimately the choice of faith is it's a choice what you believe in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think with what I'm going to say today is going to convert anybody, and that's not necessarily my intention. I'm just more so.
But I could be converted very easily with a piece of compelling external evidence. Yeah, right? It would change my mind almost instantly if I was given a compelling piece of external evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to fact check a lot of stuff.
Are you guys familiar with external mentions of Jesus outside of the Bible?
Tacitus.
Yeah, you have Tacitus and Josephus.
And Tacitus is the only one not considered to be a fraud. Josephus is considered by scholars to be a fraud.
By scholars to be a fraud, yeah. But I feel
and
like
then Tacitus mentions externally, but has never met Jesus. So in a lot of ways, Tacitus is mentioning Christianity. I don't think anybody denies that Christianity existed. Yeah.
What the Tacitus quote is like, Christ for whom, or is that Josephus? Which one said like Christ for whom the religion is named off of? And Tacitus is the one that mentions James, right? Jesus' brother.
Tacitus also mentions about being Jesus being a sorcerer, and that's the reason why he was able to be a miracle worker. But that feeds into my next point. With all of the different writings from that time about Jesus, is that he had the reputation of being some sort of healer or medical worker. Case in point, a hostile source like Tacitus crediting sorcery to Jesus and saying that
Tacitus isn't quoting anything except the Christian mythos, right? Tacitus doesn't have any evidence that Jesus actually did any of these things. He's writing about it decades after Jesus died.
Right. This isn't a contemporary account.
Yes, but I would argue that because it's a contemporary account, it shows the consensus.
No. It's not. Tacitus is not a contemporary.
It's not a contemporary living account. Tacitus's first writing about Jesus is decades after. There is no confirmed historical writing of somebody talking about Jesus. And there's no doubt, like, even if we say the Gospels weren't written for up to a century, or I think in some cases a little bit more after, there's no doubt the concept of Christianity existed prior to the dates of, I don't think anybody argues, I don't know, I could be wrong, we need Justin for shit like this. I don't think anybody argues that the Gospels was the origin moment of Christianity, that it was already being spoken about and catching on by the time the Gospels are written several decades later. So Tacitus would not be a person to look at and go, well, there's an external source that lived at the same time and saw that this is decades later.
That's a fair point. You know, I'll concede to that. You guys are making a fair argument with that. But
Jake, do you believe Islam is true?
No, I do
not
believe
Mormonism is true.
No.
If the only thing that is different about them and you, as far as the standard of your belief, is essentially the belief itself. In other words, it's all based on faith, roughly the same level of historical thing. If the only difference is essentially what the tenets of the belief are, but the epistemology to get there are the same, do you hope that people who are Muslim or Mormon or anybody of a religion that is false, do you hope that something will get through to them and they'll decide not to be those things until they have a better reason?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's basically the whole point.
But Jake,
of Christianity.
That's where we are with you, is we hope you will wait to have a better reason the same way that you hope they will. Because I don't think you have a better reason to believe than Mormonism or than Islam. And if you do, you can certainly share it with us, but why your faith is more likely to be true than either of theirs. And it's like significant and demonstrable and doesn't rely on the same magical thinking and doesn't come back to faith. And so basically what I'm saying is I feel every theist like you, Jake, who's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a choice of faith. I think all of you come back to it's a choice of faith. And I really hope that people with the other faith will have a higher standard than I have to get out of their faith and then maybe either accept mine or just not be those things. I mean, Jake, it's somewhat hypocritical to hope if it comes down to you're foundationally the same, just the list, just the characteristics of your belief are different. It's a bit hypocritical to hope that they will stop believing until they have a better reason when you won't.
I would argue that obviously there's a big difference between Mormonism and Islam. And if I were to go into those reasons why I personally don't think that's true, it'd be a whole other thing. And I don't necessarily think that's what you're asking.
But foundationally, would they be able to, like you say, go, yeah, that's a great point, but my faith still tells me it's true?
I mean, yeah, they certainly could do that. Just like
so it is. I mean, it is. That's what I'm saying. So I hope you will cease your belief in Christianity until you have a reason better than faith. Because I don't want you to believe it. Let's say your Christianity is true, Jake. I don't want you to believe in Christianity, even the true one, on the same basis that Muslims believe in Islam, that Mormons believe in Mormonism, that Hindus believe in Hinduism. All of these things subjugate, they're bad for people. Religions are bad for people. So even if you have the true one, I just don't want you to believe it for the same reason. Just like I don't want leftists to believe in leftism because Hassan is hot. Unfortunately, we have a number of them. And
only
they're
believe in it because
bad at
I'm hot, actually.
Right. Yes. I don't want them to vote because Jovan's hot. I certainly don't want them to vote because they think I'm a skilled musician. People haven't somehow figured out yet I suck at it. Okay? So listen, Jake, in the same way I don't want them to believe for those bad reasons, even if they're true, I don't want you to believe for the bad reason, and I want you to go, all right, I should suspend this. I should take this down to 0. I'm not saying it's untrue, but I can't actually say it's true. And now I'm going to go seek those good reasons that it's true. And I'm going to put it in the frame of, why is this a good reason that no other belief system can claim to? Because truth is exclusive. And at that point, I'm afraid, Jake, the end of that journey, as it was when I literally took up the journey I'm describing to you as a believer myself, and you will find, maybe I'm being a little self-interested here, I'm afraid that journey most often ends in atheism. Because at the end of the day, you'll go, look, I don't know that there's no God out there, but I kind of do in some ways, and certainly Christianity is not true. When you and the easiest way to find that is to go find the good reasons why it is.
Is that I don't want to cut you off. Is that all you had to say for your point?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like your characterizations are very fair, and it's very fair to say, well, if Muslims or Mormons are using your same frame of logic, then maybe you should suspend your own beliefs, and that's quite valid. However, I would say that there's more reasons why I think Christianity is real than just faith. But ultimately, like you said, it's going to have to come down to your faith, whether or not you believe. I just
want to make sure that we're doubling up on this really quick, Jake. I fully believe that you have other reasons for believing in Christianity other than like an internal basis on faith. But if none of those reasons are external to the belief system, then they're not good reasons, right?
Yeah, or exclusive.
It's just a loop back in on itself, right? It's just my reason for believing in Christianity is because Christianity tells me to believe in Christianity.
I'd say it has to be more than external, though. The word exclusive over there, it needs to be external and exclusive. Because if you just go with external, you could say, okay, here's the external evidence that the historical city of David existed, and that's in the Bible. Therefore, it is evidence for something of the Bible, but it's not exclusive to then the claims of the Bible. It doesn't then explain the rest. And it doesn't.
When I say it's got to be evidence for Christianity, I mean it has to prove that Jesus proving Jesus was resurrected or divine in any way, in my opinion, would go a long way to proving the divinity claims of the Bible. That's what you'd have to do.
It would certainly help. Unfortunately, if somebody figured out, like, guys, I found a time portal camera, I can show you historical Jesus being crucified, and I can show you historical Jesus existing 3 days later. One thing that baffles a lot of people, once you actually take on skepticism, that doesn't actually prove he's the Son of God. It literally does. Like, as Hitchens used to say,
I think if we had a time machine,
it doesn't mean he's not a liar about how he did them.
I think if we had a time machine that can take us back to that exact moment, right? Yeah. A time machine with a camera, and we can view that exact moment, which is something that, feasibly through science maybe.
I doubt it.
If that ever was the case, if we could see the resurrection the way it's described by the Gospels, like with a boulder being moved, earthquakes, there's an angel who sits on it who goes blah blah blah, then I'm a bit more likely to believe that there is some that I would instantly believe in magic. Right.
Yeah.
So I would at least now believe that there is mysticism. And so now there's a bit more of a path. It would just be like, okay, now I have to prove to me that angel's not the devil, actually.
Now, Jovan and
so now it becomes.
Sorry for how, Jake, we're going to use you as a prop right now. Here's my counter. If I were to right now find a civilization that's in the same period of 2,000 years prior humans were, and I could travel to them with my current technology, I could blow their minds.
Yeah, if time travel ever isn't, it would have to be a version of time travel where you can only witness and can't interact.
And Jake and Jovan, it doesn't bother either of you that I'm a woodworker with a beard and long hair that resembles this white Jesus I keep hearing about?
Here we go. And that's where that's where the call ends, is Jimmy proving that he is actually Christ. He built a time machine and went back in time.
Holy
I am
shit,
your
man.
Christ. We found him.
Jimmy is the
anyway,
Jesus
Jake,
the Catholics talk about, not the Jesus that actually existed.
Jake, can I give you a challenge and then ask you to call back next Sunday?
Yeah, for sure. If I'm not at work, but I'll definitely remember and call you guys back.
So the challenge would be, sit down with a piece of paper if you need, a keyboard, whatever. Write out what some of your evidences are, and then try and really flesh out the ones that you're like, okay, this is external. I don't have to rely on it because the Bible says it is. Like, there's some external source that validates this biblical claim. Or, and then on top of that, it is exclusive. That this thing that I can prove is true about Christianity would not prove Mormonism, would not prove Islam, so you got to pretty much throw out the Old Testament, would not prove anything else but Christianity. And so call back with your, like, here is my best non-faith reason for Christianity. Now, I'm going to warn you, Jake, there will be places on the internet that try to intercept you. The Kalam is not a good Christian defense. Even if we grant you the Kalam, the distance between deism and Christianity is actually bigger than the different distance between atheism and deism. So don't fall for the dumb, like, and now I've proved the deist God exists, therefore now we can just agree without examination that the rational jump would be Christianity. Jesus cares, if you touch yourself. Yeah. All right. Sound good, Jake?
Hey, guys. Yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted to thank you guys for being so polite and respectful. You guys are amazing. I've listened to you guys last week, and I was kind of too shy to call in now. I just wanted to call in today, and hopefully we can reconvene next week, and I'll bring forth some the compelling evidence that I can compile myself.
That's good.
We can't wait.
Sounds good. No, thanks. That sounds good. Thank you, Jake.
That's good.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, I might stick with thanks good. Thanks good
is that
nice.
The most civil call we've ever had on Calling It Now?
Maybe you and I together. People really do underestimate the reflection of civility. People really do think that, like, I do these shows because I want to yell at people. But when you have multiple repeat people calling in who have engaged in bad faith every time prior, and you're just like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Certainly there are times I lose my shit, but people really underestimate even, and granted, Jake was like, yeah, you guys make great points. I don't know, but Jake, I can understand where people are like, yeah, you like Jake because he kind of rizzed you guys up there at the end. Maybe, but there are also calls where there isn't that level of obsequity. What's that?
Said I was fine with Jake before the rizzing.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to die horrifically at the end of the call, nor did I know about the rizzing. Anyway, let's see. Ooh, this one's tough. This one is tough. Okay, we lost that one. I don't even know which one we lost. Sorry, for all the people who are getting busy signals, if you are calling on a religious topic, please call the show in the next hour over on the line, the Sunday show after dark. It looks like I'm going to be there. But those of you who are getting busy signals is because we actually capped calls since we only have an hour left and we have a lot of people on the line at the moment, despite being told this week. This is why you guys have a hard time getting calls. Sawyer in Canada, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. Sawyer has shared that his pronouns are he, him. Sawyer, how old are you?
I am 18, actually.
All right, so not a voter yet. You live in Canada, so you
I don't know
can't
what
vote
Canada's
here
voting age is.
anyway. But I got to tell you, with an 18-year-old Canadian, I admit to the point of potentially suffering from cognitive bias that my confidence level that you will grasp our distaste for MAGA is low. But you are calling in to say that you disagree with the MAGA statement, I think, on Jovan's stream. So would you
that MAGA is uneducated.
MAGA is
or
uneducated
bad
or
people.
Yeah. MAGA is either uneducated or bad. And you disagree with that. So what would you say is the source of your disagreement? Why do you disagree?
Yeah, so shockingly, I actually live in a small town in a very rural part of Canada. So I have met a lot of far-right people, one of which actually really liked Trump. He was an old coworker of mine. And while I haven't talked to him in quite a while, so I'm not sure of his new opinions towards things like the Epstein files and whatnot, he seemed to be very deep in what I could only describe as like cult-like experience, you know? So I think that there should be a third group to that, where he wasn't exactly uneducated, and yes, I could describe him as a little dumb, but that would be.
I would just want to preface: uneducated does not mean dumb. It just means they are unaware of Trump's policies and how those policies interact or interfere with people. When they become aware, they would become educated, and once they become aware, either they are going to stop believing in those policies, or they're going to continue to engage with Donald Trump. In which case, I would say they're now bad people.
Yeah. Also, uneducated isn't broad. Like, he's not saying there are people with PhDs we would call uneducated, because we are using it in a very subjective sense.
Someone in my chat read that like a while ago and said, "Well, I have a PhD and I'm MAGA. I have a doctorate." And they said, "My doctorate's in anesthesia." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
You know what, though? I mean, that does show a level of intellectual engagement that's like, yeah, keep talking. I think you're probably on the bad side. Like, if someone does come to me and has a PhD, I first assume bad, but then may just turn out to be uneducated. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Anyway, Sawyer, so my argument is my response to you is there's nothing you've said about the third category of MAGA is simply cult-like that would not fall in the category of uneducated, especially when you then describe who are in a cult. And the cult is made up of two groups of people, generally, the uneducated and the evil, the people who know that they're grifting and continue to grift anyway, and the people who are uneducated, which can mean a gap of knowledge in a lot of ways, including delusion. Well, I brought up Mother God. Mother God was both an evil leader and a full-on believer. And so she even is kind of both. She was bad and uneducated, but her uneducation quality came from a delusion state. So what about being cult-like would take it out? Or are you saying you just didn't understand what we meant by uneducated? Now that we've further explained it, you accept it?
That's fine. I think your further explanation of uneducated has actually really helped me.
Yeah. All right. That's fair enough.
I feel like maybe it could be phrased better than uneducated.
You know what? Hey, Sawyer, you might be correct. Simply send us an email with the way that you would fit it in a few words on a list style graphic.
Yeah.
And I'll at least include it on mine. I don't know if Jovan will, but it's kind of like when people are like, well, defund the police was a bad slogan. It should have said defund the police. And by that, what we mean is reprioritize money and put it more toward like social workers and reduce the amount of the police. And we shouldn't be giving the police military and you're literally like, how many posters deep are we right now? So you got to remember.
One thing you gotta also remember that like in order to get calls, we have to make inflammatory statements. Like, nobody's gonna call if I go like MAGA just is well, they might if I say MAGA is unaware of political policy, but uneducated. I think the bigger issue is people hear uneducated and then jump to, oh, you're calling me stupid. No, I'm saying that you are politically illiterate. You are unaware of political policy and how those political policies affect you and the people around you. Once you're aware of that, you're educated. And if you still support Trump after that, well, then now you're a bad person.
There are people though who eventually I consider stupid. Like
that's the disconnect that I feel I have with this guy at least, is he seemed to understand things like policy, but just not how it affected people fiscally.
Yeah.
Like,
but can you get him to call us?
And he thought it was good, and so.
If he thinks that policies that harm a large majority of people are good, then I hate to break it to you, sounds like a bad person.
What's his first name, Sawyer?
Oh man,
just a first name.
I'm a bad person. I'm really bad with names. It's been like a year maybe since I talked to him.
What do you call him?
Douchebag.
What's his? How's his hairline?
His hairline? Oh,
all the way back.
Old.
He's bald, isn't he?
Okay,
they're always bald.
Right, I got it. Hey, Baldy. Your friend Sawyer called, and he would like you to call us and explain your defense of Trump and MAGA to us. We know that you're busy trying Rogaine. It's not going to work. So just go ahead, and that time you were going to dedicate to the Gain Rose, you call us instead. Sawyer, just show him that little clip, and let's see if we can get him on the line.
Trying Rogaine was wild.
It takes a while. It can make your palms grow hair. I don't know if that's true. I've just heard that before.
I'm lucky I have the hair, so I don't even know what Rogaine.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with, look, I got a recession to my hairline. This is probably where it's going to end. There's nothing wrong with being bald. If anything, doesn't it mean that you have high testosterone levels? Isn't balding
I just
related
think
to
all
testosterone?
balding men should just suck it up and go bald. You look better when you just do bald.
I think all bald men should just plug their nose and push, and I suspect the hair would press out like Play-Doh.
Plug your nose and push is crazy.
All right, so here, I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for your time. I'm glad you let me call in. Bye-bye.
Thanks. So are you saying you don't like the bald on top and then sides still filled in look?
Thinning hair? No, just go bald over thinning hair. Like, what the fuck?
There's a few things. One, wig technology these days is crazy, and if you want to have that head of hair, go do it. I don't care. The good toupees. But there are people who I would feel weird. Like, there are certain people who represent the male pattern baldness in a way that I'm like, Colin Mockery should not shave to all the way bald. Do you think?
There are some comedians who need
specifically comedians. Shit.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Yeah.
That's not great if that's the category.
No,
hey.
I don't know if you watch Smiling Friends, but you need to watch. I'll send you this clip that you need to watch about balding hair, and yo, it's so good.
Let's see.
We've been leaving Hakeem dangling for an hour. Do we want
to? Well, I told James to call back and talk to you because James was the one who was telling me. So let's bring James on. I think next. Right. Let me fill you in real quick. I told you a little bit about him. James,
is this the one you tried to tell me where I was dissociating and I had to have you explain it to me like 5 times?
I think so. James was the one who said that he voted for Trump because Joe Biden spent $20 billion on police, which led to an increase in the number of dead black men. Then when we looked it up, the number of dead black men was marginal. And he even said he doesn't know that it was a causal link between the $20 billion. He just sees it that way. And I asked him how he eliminated the possibility of the numbers being close and Trump not being obviously higher to the fact that there was a decrease in police interactions around COVID. He also didn't have a thing for that. He also then tried to say, but like black women, because they're worried about their son should have voted for Trump because Biden is worse for black people. Then when I brought up like Somali immigrants and how things are going for them and whether they're black and all this kind of stuff, he basically just kept going back to his only argument was the number of dead black people by police under Biden was higher than first term Trump. And that's the only issue he voted on, and that it is okay to not vote. And it's wrong of me to saying it was wrong that people should have voted for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump, and that we shouldn't shame people for not voting. That's basically the catch up. I will silence myself. Oh, and I told you I ended the call when I was like, you're going to have to call Jovan, because he started invoking Dr. King. And I was like, I'm not going to do the optics of a white guy explaining Dr. King to a black guy. So if you want to do that, you call back when Jovan is on. So now,
Okay.
James in Florida, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan, but Jimmy is going to mute and let the two of you, if you feel you want to correct anything about that introduction, you can, but I'm going to let the two of you do the talking.
I really would like to correct that introduction. First of all, before we get started, canary yellow and you're pulling it off, wonderful. Like, seriously, class. But past that, I really do want to kind of correct that. Can I get a second to do that?
Yeah, real quick, James, just because I'm also sometimes dumb, I'm at least thinking of the same guy from this week, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then I'll be quiet now. You can, whatever correction, even if I disagree with some characterization, and I'll let Jovan handle it.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, I didn't vote for Trump, nor did I endorse voting for Trump. That was a huge misnomer. The actual argument is that people asking people to vote against their own self-interest is a very privileged position. And it wasn't that there was a causal link between the spending bill and the excess police death. It was that Joe Biden is pro-cop because he's expending that much money. And then there was an increase in the amount of black death, meaning that you're asking people to vote against their interest when they are choosing to vote for Joe Biden. And if they abstain, I don't really have a problem with like a black mother who abstains from voting for Joe Biden because her son was murdered by the police.
I would agree with that.
And further, the whole thing, I think one of the things that you kind of keep wrapping back around to is like 96% of people, black women, voted for Kamala Harris, which is like, obviously, black people always vote Democrat. It's not about the percentage, because very rarely is that ever going to move below like 94, 93. It's about the turnout of black people, which actually less of us came out for Kamala than came out for, like, say, Obama. And how do we come out at Obama levels? Kamala probably would be president.
Okay.
I do want to say to Jovan, the thing you said you would agree with that. If you go back and watch the call, first of all, he absolutely did make the case of a causal link. And second, it wasn't specifically about just the black women whose sons have died, but black women in general voting less for Joe Biden because black men were dying at, again, what he was claiming was a caused by the $20 billion increase in police spending.
You know what? Let me go ahead and grant you that, Jimmy. Not that I need to grant it to you because it's your show. Let's just chalk it up to you're a beautiful white guy, and I was nervous talking to you on my first time. So let's just water under the bridge. You understand my point now.
Jimmy. Okay.
Huh?
One thing I do want to mention, and again, if this wasn't the point being made, that's fine. More unarmed black men, or more black men, I won't say unarmed, more black men were killed by police in 2025 than 2024. Just so that we have 2025's numbers.
Yeah.
I know that
so
you guys have talked
term
about.
It's definitely gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was comparing Trump's first term to Biden's first term, right? And
Sure. But
I
don't know how much because I have no contention with anybody from a minority class abstaining from voting. I think if that's how you if that's how you feel safe, in using your vote, I have no issue with that. I have issues with like white men who claim to be progressive who go, I'm not going to vote. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really fair version of what I'm actually pointing out, because that's actually the point that I was making, was for people that
Now,
are marginalized.
was
or
it the point you were making, or do you want to just go with it because I said it and it sounds good? I'm fine with either. Either makes me look
No,
good.
no, it was actually what I said last time, was that people that are marginalized groups that have received harm at the hands of the Democrats shouldn't be shamed into voting for said Democrats. And I was pointing out that it was problematic that you claim moral high ground, I guess you would say, for saying that they were voting. That's what I was actually calling in about the first time, right? I was pointing out, and then the whole reason why I was pointing out again, I was like, this is actually a really common conclusion that like most marginalized thinkers, like most like marginalized like philosophers, I guess you would call them, leaders of marginalized thought, kind of come to, is like participating in the electoral system. I mean, we could argue about maybe if you guys think that it's harm reduction, because I actually think it causes more harm to vote for the Democrats than less.
Well, I would definitely disagree with that. I do want to say that, like, while I agree that I'm not going to shame somebody for their vote, right? Like, if you're a marginalized person, like if a black trans woman goes, I'm not voting for the Democrats because I'm also unsafe under Democratic policies. I'm not going to disagree with you, right? I'm not going to disagree, and I'm not going to say don't do that. I will say it's clear from the data that more harm seems to subsist for everyone when Republicans are in office, because I think that at least Republicans, it would appear, let me phrase it this way. Democrats want to continue imperialism. Republicans want fascism. At home.
Right.
Let me say at home. I think Democrats want fascism elsewhere, but Republicans want fascism at home. So in that regard, I think it's better to vote Democrat, depending on who the candidate is. But I have no contention with somebody who is a minority group.
Abstaining.
Abstaining
for the sake
I'll
of
say
safety.
the unpopular thing.
But
I do.
Can I comment on that real quick?
In a moment,
go ahead.
I do have a contention. They are leveled and they are tiered, but I actually think if I don't engage in that contention, then there's some level of like, oh, I don't expect this person, because they're from that group, to understand the comprehensive reason why voting for the president isn't just voting for the president. You are foundationally voting for your future beyond them, because, for example, Donald Trump is now going to get to cement multiple Supreme Court justices, and now his gerrymandering racket he's been doing is also going to make everything worse. And it's not like this wasn't the points we were making back then. So while my shaming is tiered, and even to some level, it's kind of like I'm not much concerned about the person of Palestinian descent from Colorado who specifically abstained from voting, because they're also not in a swing district. The worst thing they did was not counter the narrative that Donald Trump now gets to have of, because I also won the popular vote, that increases my mandate. It's not as though that actually changes the actions he's doing. It's merely a symbolic thing he gets to say. And other people have to say, like, he does kind of have that mandate. But I do have contention with it. And I think that maybe it's the word shaming that you're using that we disagree with. But to me, it sounds like you're saying shaming is, I disagree. And I think the best case made for you, even if you are a black trans woman or a family member of Palestinians, that the best case, the best comprehensive case of one, if you should vote and how you should vote is yes, and you should have voted for Kamala Harris. And I think it would actually be crazy of me to abstain on just the, like, if they say they're not going to, or that they didn't, to then go like, well, I'm just going to hold those back to myself.
My contention in there would be based upon the reason, right? Like if I have a black person that calls into my show and goes, well, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris because I don't trust black women, then yeah, I'm gonna say your fucking reason for not voting is stupid as fuck. But if I have somebody who, like, under the Biden administration, right, they experienced their family members or whoever being brutally killed by police, right, under in a city that is run by Democrats and all this, like, I recognize that you're just your what's the word I want to use? Your not point of reference or frame of reference, but like your reasons for voting aren't just because I don't think I'm going to experience harm. It's I'm already experiencing harm from these people. Now you can have a little bit of like, hey, is the devil you know better than the devil you don't? Right. But like,
but also I'm fundamentally lost in there is when we were arguing with James, and maybe this is how we turn it back. James, your argument also about not voting for Kamala Harris was because she's Joe Biden. She isn't.
No, it was that she fundamentally, because if you remember when she came out, she actually had a lot more energy in the beginning of her campaign. It was when she pivoted towards the right that people then immediately go, oh, you're choosing to pivot towards the right instead of being malleable to the marginalized groups that, you know, are excited
and
would
we
come
already
out
agreed
in
that
numbers.
was wrong.
Actually,
yeah, we already agreed that was wrong. You said when I said though that
wait, what was wrong?
You and I already agreed that her move to the right, her trying to appeal to the right.
Okay,
if you remember,
yeah.
when we argued, you said she's not malleable. And I said one of the reasons we should vote for her is that I used the word bullyable. She is changeable on the basis of popular sentiment against her for her. And so you said she's not because she went to the center. And I said, no, that means she is. She just malleabled to the wrong direction. And I think we could have corrected that mistake after. Or at least not corrected. She wouldn't become a leftist, but we could have done better.
I do really quickly just to bridge the gap.
Sorry.
I just want to bridge a gap.
I would like to count because I think my point will hit on Jimmy's point.
Okay.
So the point that I'm making and where I see Jimmy's contention and where my contention is I disagree that engaging with the Democrats by giving them votes is actually necessarily causing less harm. Now, Republicans fundamentally cause more harm in the short term, but the thing is, if the Democrats know that they're going to get your votes, even if they disagree with you, even if they don't bend and don't negotiate with their constituency that's on the left, they know that those votes are locked in, so they think that the only votes I need to worry about getting are the votes on the right, which is why, if you look historically, Democrats never propose something and then make it more progressive. They always propose something and then make it more conservative.
James, you're introducing a point that was supposed to hit on mine. You're introducing a point you brought in the other day, and I already addressed it in another way today. Everything that you're just describing sounds great if democracy is maintained by the result of those votes. But that's not what we're facing right now. You aren't voting for president only. You're also voting for the Supreme Court. You're also voting for a person at the head of government weaponizing now a Department of Justice in a way that is unprecedented. If that was the only difference between, let's say their policies were the same, except for their relationship to the Department of Justice was the only difference, that it was basically the way it was under Biden or under Trump, that would still be enough reason to vote for the thing that systematically will keep democracy closer to intact than the one before. But there's massive differences. So what you're describing, if democracy were still intact after, is fine. But this is why I told you the other day, you just don't know you're an accelerationist. That's what you are talking about.
No, you're using accelerationism wrong.
You are advocating essentially for, if they don't meet our demands, we things get worse enough that how bad it is will radicalize more people, and then the next time we're going to take it back with the vote. And as I pointed out, that form of accelerationism doesn't come with fixing it with votes. That comes with fixing it with revolution. We're still trying to do things democratically. And so last election, while there may still have been enough democratic pillars intact, it was important to maintain those. We now are sitting here facing a midterm in November. We don't know whether that democracy is intact yet for this November's election. That's how far we are from just 2 years ago. So the consequences of not voting for Trump or Biden not voting for Kamala Harris, are far more than just she, tried to pander more to the right. Fundamentally, they would be able to put off for 4 more years replacing Republican judges with younger people, with more radical people who are going to stick around longer. There would not be all of this. The gerrymandering racket that is happening wouldn't be happening, as well as everything else, the pedophile protection, all of the shit that, again, people are acting like, it's not like you warned of us that, except for that there's all kinds of content of us warning you that this is the exact shit that was going to happen. And that Project 2025 was going to happen, James. So all of your theories of like, by not rewarding them, by not voting for them, great, we didn't. And now the next way we change back to on course may not have anything to do with democracy because it may be too late and too far.
I want to bridge something here because there's something that I feel like people forget in these conversations, at least when it comes to like, I don't like the phrase rewarding the Democrats, because I don't think that's what it is. I think the bigger issue here is people forget that it's up to us to make sure the Democrats follow through. Some people just go, oh, well, this Democrat got caught doing all this fucking nonsense, but there's nothing we can do. And it's like, well, no, recall them, have a recall election, have this, do this. They don't do any of the further follow up to make sure the Democrats aren't just, getting elected and then shitting the bed, right? So part of what, at least I'd like to see from people who are politically inclined going forward is like, if whoever you're going to vote for, now obviously it's harder if it's a president, but like, I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. I just want to see people engage a little more honestly in these things, so that like, oh, hey, it's not just we voted in Kamala Harris and that means the Democrats have won. No, treat the Democrats like shit till they give us what we want. Right? Treat what? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think I hear exactly what you're saying. It's almost as if we're pointing out that, voting shouldn't be the end of your practices. I think the point that you're getting at. But
it wasn't the start. James said this the other day, though. And James, it wasn't the start of your practices. It's the least you should do, and you shouldn't skip it.
Well, this is where again, one, I want to address the point about accelerationism. It's kind of a non sequitur, but it's like, accelerationism fundamentally isn't usually about like politics like this. It's actually more about like transhumanism and technology and gains of capitalism. But if you want to use it, as a whole like political philosophy thing, then I would be voting for Republicans, right? Because that would accelerate me destroying the system.
No, you kind of did. On the day
by not voting, I'm not voting
on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. On Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, you were in a state that is theoretically, I understand that it can feel very much like it's not. I'm in one of those states and still participate. And Texas is far further, is theoretically still a swing state. And by your own acknowledgments, a much bigger threat to democracy was on the ballot versus essentially at worst status quo. And you did not participate in stopping the threat of to democracy on that day. And so, yes, you essentially did vote for the Republicans by abstaining to vote, especially in a theoretical swing state.
And again, this is just where we disagree on the thing, so I don't want to like circle around again. But this
I've given my reasoning for it.
This is Malcolm X, Foxes and Wolves, or MLK, White Moderates. The point of this is once again, the reason why we got Trump and this gradual slide rightward is there is always going to be a Republican boogeyman that they're going to put to the right, to the further right, in order to garner votes, and it will always signal the Democrats to move further to the right instead of going to the left. It is actually, I believe, the fact that Democrats did not get a high turnout, that they should have won that last election, but not enough people came out to vote. And that's actually what wins elections. Obviously, it's not about convincing the other side. It's about getting your side out to vote in the first place. That signal that they're getting right now is telling
Truly,
them,
we
oh
are
shit, we got
circling
to
because we
pivot
did
to
this
the
the other
left.
day too. I already
Yeah.
agreed that it's the question is whether or not it is in isolation the Democrats' fault. Once again, you're going to invoke Malcolm X. I'm not doing the optics of here's a white guy explaining Malcolm X to a black guy. However, on the other point you made, we already did it is definitely the DNC's fault that Kamala Harris failed, that she lost. Doesn't mean it's only her fault. And at the end of the day, I do not have the low expectations on voters that they're so dumb or detached or unable to be grasped by comprehensive reasoning that I give anybody a pass for abstaining, even for things like I personally can't because of this thing that is bad for my community. As a queer man who employs trans people, I assure you, I'm not stoked about either party. And there are personal reasons that I have, personal investments I have to make sure that a leftist actually gets in, because I also have rights and my employees have rights that are at stake here, that Democrats do not meet the moment for. I'm also a chronically ill person with extremely high medical costs. Joe Biden did not support Medicare for all. Kamala Harris used to support Medicare for all and withdrew it. On that basis alone, if I was to use the same reasoning, this is a person who was working toward my personal interest and has now withdrawn her march toward my personal interest. I would have abstained, and you would have, I guess, been the same type of, you would have said, yeah, shaming Jimmy specifically when those are his stakes in the game. It's wrong to shame, which once again comes down to what does shame mean? Because it's again seems to me that you think shaming is telling a person they were wrong for not voting on a full comprehensive reason why they should have, that at some point they stopped and just made it personal about themselves and didn't go beyond that. And to me, I think anytime a decision is made essentially where you are prioritizing the ego and the experience of the individual over the collective consequence, that is exactly and especially when you should shame a person while giving some grace and exception to people who are in periods of mourning, because we shouldn't expect people in those periods to be acting rationally. Trauma like that fucks up your brain. Those are the people I give the grace to.
But what you're trying to do is you're trying to frame it like as if the person that's abstaining from the vote is only thinking about their individual outcome, when I'm pointing out there is actually a plenty of people that have a very real, and whether you agree with it or not, systemic view on their relationship with electoralism and their relationship with the Democratic Party. Not again, why I wouldn't shame you for voting, but again, those people also are looking at the collective harm and what it does and doesn't do.
It is funny because almost the entire beginning of that still centered the individual, and the whole point was the comprehensive.
What part of it centered the individual? What part of it centered the individual?
What do you mean, what part of it? You literally kept saying their experience, they, and then at the very end said, and they are considering the collective harm. It was only until everything before the collective harm was still about the individual. And so then when it comes to the collective harm, the whole point I made before was that if you do the comprehensive issue, the collective harm can't only be the collective harm of the groups that only I isolated want to look at the interest of. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be everything. Everybody, there is no Gazan who would have looked at Kamala Harris and been like, if she just gets elected, my days, the days are definitely going to be better, because that wasn't clear, even though as an American, I could easily go better, but not good. Clearly she's going to do better than Trump. Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, let me ask you a question. When a person is saying that they are choosing to abstain from voting from the Democrats because they believe that their relationship with the Democrats will cause greater harm over a longer period of time, is that individualism to you? Like, and it's
No,
not
that's
greater harm
that's
to
an
a single
incorrect.
group of people, but to
No,
all
that is when the
system.
thing that I already again I keep re-explaining things. The thing that you are calling shaming, I don't agree is shaming, and that's when I would engage in it, and I would go, great. Now let's examine that harm and let's put together a comprehensive case, because you don't have a choice of abstaining where abstaining results in no president. You have a choice of abstaining where, in theory, the person who is better still becomes president, or the person who is worse becomes president. So we don't have a thing in here. If only 10 people showed up to vote, our system would be in place in a way where the winner of those 10 people would still win the election. 10's a bad example because there's an electoral college. It would have to be at least 50 people. That's how our system currently is in place. So it would be this thing that you seem to be saying is shaming is if they say, I'm abstaining to vote because I don't agree with the harm that the Democrats are doing, let's say, to trans individuals, or I'm queer, so I can speak to queer and nobody can quote a person at me that the optics are going to be bad. The Democrats are not great for queer people.
Group?
For queer people, the Democrats, oh my fucking God. It doesn't, this is what the whole point of comprehensive was. If somebody says, I'm not going, and by the way, you did give examples of individual groups before, that was your case. You went with black women before, for example, despite the fact that black women turned out more for Kamala Harris. And when faced with that same information, they went, you know what? She's still better, and we still trust her to understand our experience than we do Donald Trump. And we're one of the few groups who voted more for Harris than Biden, whereas most other groups shifted to Trump. So you have given individual groups. And so now I'm telling you, if a person comes to me and says Democrats are bad for queer people, I would then engage in what you seem to think is shaming and say, I think you're wrong, and you should vote for Democrats, and here are the reasons why. And if you and I acknowledge that there is a harm that comes to queer people under Democratic rule, which there is, we also have to weigh that against the harm that will happen under Trump's rule and the future harm that will happen if Trump is able to reinforce his Supreme Court. James, if anything, you keep trying to say, like, you keep trying to switch between myopic and big picture when it suits you.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Just that it's two different points, right? I said initially I was saying I wouldn't shame anybody that was caused direct harm from the Democratic Party.
Define shame now. If we're going to keep using it, define what shame is. What does it mean to shame somebody?
Tell somebody that they are on the moral low ground, I guess you would say. They are immoral for not choosing to vote for the Democratic Party.
Now, what if it's you just tell them they are wrong to not, and that their vote is going to lead to more harm, both for the groups that they do prioritize and people generally? Is that shaming?
No, I think that's wrong, but I also, again, would say that
if it's factually correct that it's immoral, is it still shaming?
If you think that if it's shaming them to call them that, is it shaming them? Is it shaming somebody to say that they are immoral? Yes.
What if it's factually correct that they made the immoral choice?
But I thought we weren't doing immoral anymore. I thought it was just you made an incorrect choice. Are we back? I don't remember if we're back to immoral or not.
Yeah, that's kind of like, this is where we keep circling, where it's like, I can argue with you on the point on whether it's correct or not, but if you're saying that they're immoral,
you keep switching in the actual function of the word shame in our conversation. And mine was always telling people they're wrong.
Wait, hold on, because that's the belief that I hold, is that, like, I'm not gonna fucking shame you for voting for, or not for not voting, right? And for actively saying I'm not going to vote for the Democrats. I think that's your right to do as somebody who's been harmed by the Democrats. I don't think it was the right decision. I think you made an incorrect decision. I think it's going to bite you in the butt. But I'm not going to be like, yeah, you're a terrible human being for it.
So is he engaging in shaming?
Yeah, no, he's not.
Great. Then for all times in the future, James, when you hear it from this channel, understand what we're saying is your evaluation of the harm and your decision to not vote was the wrong decision. because this definition of shame, I should have asked it from you at the very beginning, is very shallow and open to interpretation. But by the way, if it is factually true that the vote a person made is immoral, the concept that you're shaming a person with the truth, especially if they are contending that it is not true, to me is also stupid.
Well, I'm just pointing out to you that if you want to actually argue about whether or not it's the correct choice, that's it. Again, that's where we get back and forth on this argument where it's like, I can argue that with you. I no longer think that's about shame if you're talking about correctness. But if we're
when did I argue that you made the immoral choice versus the wrong choice?
When you said that you are ashamed and when you literally said that you would shame people for making the wrong choice.
No. When you and I discussed your choice to abstain, because we already just established clearly we're using definitions of shame, and I think you're just trying to use one now to get you out of the argument, frankly, because it doesn't fit the context of times you've used it prior in our conversations. So when we discuss your choice to abstain or other people's choice to abstain, did I shame by taking on whether or not I believed, which would clearly be subjectively, that it made me feel bad, that it's immoral that you did, versus try to actually evaluate the facts of the claims you were making? Because I remember trying to figure out if you knew what the causal link between things were, not some moral conversation.
I again stated at the top, I don't think that you're shaming me even in this conversation. I don't think, again, that was why we were kind of talking past each other. But the points that you're trying to make about the correctness of those choices, we can have that debate, which is what I'm trying to do. But I guess you're getting caught up on the fact that I think it's wrong to shame people for this debate.
Yes, when you call in and your note is about you shouldn't be shaming, acting like it was unreasonable, right, and like you're not changing your position now, but acting like it was unreasonable for me to go, therefore his claim is that these conversations have been an engagement in shaming, to me is, I think this, just like with the definition thing a minute ago, you're now trying to move your position to where you have some amount of deniability and you don't.
I think that you're trying to move your position, but that's fine.
Interesting. And yet I think you will find that if you look at the first 5 minutes of our first conversation earlier this week, I am roughly saying the same shit. But there's my position moving.
Right.
James, we've only got a half hour, right, 19 minutes left, so go ahead and make your final point, and then we're going to move on.
Okay, fine. Like I was pointing out, your position and Jovan's position are two different positions. I agree with Jovan's position. I disagree with your position. If you look back to the beginning of this conversation, you can clearly see that laid out.
James, please define in clear terms the difference between mine and Jovan's position.
Jovan's position is that he's not going to hold anybody that's actually been harmed directly from the Democratic Party for not voting for the Democratic Party. You came in and said, actually,
He's not going to hold them? You just said he's not going to hold them. He's not going to hold them as what? Because he just said he is going to still say it was the wrong decision. And this was before we defined shame. So essentially, my position is I am going to tell them it's the wrong position and why. Maybe Jovan isn't going to. Jovan, would you explain it to them why you think it's wrong, or would you just let them go?
No, I would tell them why I believe that they're wrong.
So our positions actually seem to be the same. The difference was our interpretation of your version of the word shame, which is why I said I think you moved the goalpost on it.
I think that again, if that's what you want to claim, I don't actually agree to that point, and I still think that you're wrong.
Excellent. Thanks, James. All right. Moving on to, that wasn't a hang up. Technically, I did interrupt, but I did say that was his last one. So if that came off as hang uppy, James, you're welcome to still call back again in the future. That was just meant to be I said you got the final point.
Cannot figure out how to clear this thing.
Have you seen all the racist shit Hakeem is saying about you in the live chat?
What did he say?
I mean, the most recent one is Jimmy always loses, and then he despite being corrected a million times, he's still calling you Jovan, Javon.
Mm.
He's been corrected a bunch of times.
Is it racist to say I don't really give a shit about Hakeem?
Javon also seems low IQ. So let's bring in Hakeem from North Carolina. Hakeem, why are you continuing to spell Javon's name incorrectly in the live chat?
Because he's low IQ.
I'm not.
A high IQ person can spell a name that's right in the title.
Spell Javon's name.
Jovan, Javon, Jovan.
Incorrect, and you've been corrected in the live chat many times.
Personally, a high IQ person would be able to spell a name that's in the title of the live stream. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Look right here. Look where my finger's pointing.
No, what's your name?
Maybe I'm
what's your name? I'm
about
sorry.
that.
Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed it. I'm sorry.
Hakeem, can you see the screen? Since you have the live chat open, can you see the screen?
Oh, it's Jovan. I'm sorry, Jovan.
Damn.
Jovan.
Just like the people in the live chat corrected you many times. So are you engaging and trolling in the live chat but not reading what people's responses to you are?
I don't really read the responses to me. I'm just waited patiently for an hour to talk to you.
So you complain about being banned in the live chat, which seems to be in Javon's live chat. You were coming in and doing that earlier. You were complaining about that earlier. And so that seems to me to be like sort of indicating that you don't like that people don't have the opportunity to read what you're saying, but then you're admitting here you don't actually read what other people say to you. So what would be the value of keeping you in our live chats?
Well, I just called in because you said, why would I vote for Trump again?
Oh, you're not going to answer my question? Would you agree then by the...
I missed it. I apologize.
Would you agree
Jovan,
that if we are consistent... Would you agree that if we are consistent... Would you agree that consistency would actually mean banning you from chat if your complaint is not being able to be read in chat, but you're not reading other people's responses to you in chat?
Well, I apologize to Jovan. I think that's a very decent human thing to do.
Great. So that's not the question at all. Hakeem, are you willing to answer for any of the things that you said in live chat? Any claims that you made? Are you willing to defend them?
Of course, but except for the Jovan thing, I missed it. I apologize.
People of color are violent.
13% of the violent crimes in America or excuse me, 50+% of the violent crimes in America are committed by 13% of the population.
Great, Jimmy. Mind if I take this one?
Fact.
Mind if I take this? That's not.
Can you imagine?
Hey, wait. Where's Jim? Where's Jim?
Yeah, no, wouldn't that be crazy? So Hakeem, really quickly, what states do not report to the FBI's Federal Bureau crime reporting stats?
What states don't report?
Correct.
Shame on them if they don't.
Which states don't report, Hakeem?
No idea.
Okay. Do you recognize that there are states that do not report to Table 43?
That would be sad if they don't. Wonder which ones don't. Tell me.
They do. I'm just asking, do you recognize that there are states that do not
you said
report
they don't.
to Table 43?
No,
yes.
You said they don't. What
yes,
don't?
I'm telling you right now they don't. There are states that don't report to Table 43's the Unified Crime Reporting Stats. There are states
doesn't
and municipalities.
Who doesn't?
Hold on, I'll pull it up for you in a second because
now you got to go to
be
Google?
doing homework. Well, yeah, I don't have the states.
You didn't know.
Hakeem, is it? Hold on, Hakeem. Did I say I knew what the states were? Or did I say that there are states?
You asked me. I would think you would know.
Correct.
So now you go to Google?
No.
Try to get a gotcha moment, but you don't gotcha.
So hold on, Hakeem, you said you wanted to be high IQ about this. This would be low IQ. Don't make an assumption. Hakeem, don't make an assumption and then falter on your assumption and go,
you made an assumption.
I did not make an assumption. I asked you.
Yes, you did. You asked a question you didn't know the answer to.
Hakeem,
I don't know that answer, but I didn't ask that question.
Hakeem, my question to you was, do you know the states? I didn't say, did I know the states?
You?
Now, I do know that states do not report to the UCR. Okay. Now, my question to you was, do you know which states don't?
No.
Okay.
Let me know. Google it.
Great.
Let me know.
Great. Thank you. I really wish we didn't have to go through all of that right now in order just to get here. Okay.
Don't know why you asked the
when
question
we look,
then.
Hakeem, either you want to engage in this in good faith or you don't.
I do.
Right, because right now you're not engaging in good faith.
Okay, I'll stop. Go.
So
Yes, sir.
when it comes to the UCR, we have multiple states who don't report. Florida is one of them. Florida does not fully report to the UCR. Large municipalities in Florida, including Orlando, Miami, and others, have no reporting system set up with the UCR. You have states like California has a lot of large municipalities that don't report to the UCR.
Okay.
There are large gaps here, okay, in the UCR. Now, your claim is that 50% of the 13% of the population commits 50% of the crime. Can we know an accurate number here if large portions of the country do not report data?
No, but given that California doesn't report,
I don't need a
would
but.
say it's
I don't need a
probably
but.
the worst.
That wasn't an open-ended question. I don't need a but.
I can't defend.
I don't need a but. That I didn't ask you an open-ended question. If I had asked you an open-ended question, I would expect an open-ended answer. I didn't ask you an open-ended question.
Okay.
Secondly, California and Florida are just ones I named. Alabama hardly reports to the UCR. Kentucky hardly reports to the UCR. Now, I don't know about you, but those are states that are predominantly white, right? Correct.
Alabama is predominantly white?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I don't know how to explain this to you. Most places in the United States are
And I can
predominantly white.
look up that
Most
really
places in the
quickly, too.
U.S. are predominantly
I
white.
mean, it would be probably predominantly white, but I mean, are we talking about like where the crime comes from?
So is 65% predominant?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so Hakeem, right now
I can
you're
look up a
claiming that
crime map.
you're claiming that you're high IQ, and that yet here we are. You just said, "Oh, you think Alabama's predominantly white?" That was a really low IQ thing to say.
Specifically non-Hispanic white. If you include Hispanic whites, it's higher than 65.
Yeah. So now let's continue. Now let's continue. Based on every understanding of the criminal justice system, what are the two factors that lead the most to crime, specifically violent crime?
Lower education and lower income.
Incorrect. Income, yes, not education. It's going to be specifically poverty,
all the states,
and proximity.
All the states.
Stop. Okay. It's going to be poverty and proximity. Poverty plus proximity equals crime is the very basic formula for the crime that is tracked on the UCR. Okay? Now, which group in the United States tends to be impoverished more?
Black people.
Great. Why?
Lower education.
So education is a byproduct of poverty. It's not a cause of poverty. You have lower education,
higher
when
welfare, higher EBT, higher government dependence.
So what you're doing is
slavery in the modern form is what I would call it.
Hakeem,
Jovan.
Okay, don't make me have to mute you, please. This isn't a back and forth right now. I didn't ask you to engage in a back and forth right now. What I'm doing right now is you made a claim, and we're logically deconstructing that claim. When it's time for a back and forth, you'll get a back and forth. That's not what we're doing right now. We're just deconstructing your claim. So you are incorrect. Everything you listed is a byproduct of poverty. It is not a cause of poverty. So my question to you was, what is the cause of poverty in the Black community? Not what's a byproduct. What is a cause? A causation, not a correlation. Do you know what the cause of poverty in the Black community is? You're unmuted now.
Am I off mute?
You are unmuted now.
Lower education.
Lower education is a byproduct of poverty, not a cause.
Higher government dependency.
Higher government dependency is a byproduct of poverty, not a cause. Would you like to try again?
No, I mean, I've given you the real answers.
You've given me incorrect answers. What came first, poor Black people or the welfare state? Exactly.
Probably
So
for black people.
great. So we know that it's the welfare state is a byproduct, not a cause. Thank you. I feel like you should be a little bit further up on this. It feels like we're a little bit on a 4th grade level. We should be at least on a 7th. So knowing that all of the things you've listed are byproducts of poverty, what would be the reason that black people have been systemically poorer than their white counterparts? We can take direct numbers, for example. The median wealth of black households or of white households sits above $200,000. That's the median familial wealth, while the median familial wealth of black households sits at about $12,000 to $18,000. So my question is, what is the cause of this? Not something that's a byproduct of it. Do you have an answer for what is the cause?
The Democratic Party.
Okay, so it seems you don't have an answer. That's a little embarrassing.
No, I gave you an answer. You just don't like my answer.
I would have expected a more comprehensive. Now you have your chance to answer an open-ended question, and you didn't. You had your chance to finally give an open-ended question, and you said, "Well, the Democratic Party." I don't really care about parties here. Can you give an actual reason for the cause of systemic poverty in the black community?
Democratic Party trying to keep people down on government handouts for votes.
If we know that poverty existed prior to government handouts, then government handouts would have no correlation. You're doing what's called a causal correlation fallacy, and it's understandable. Low IQ people tend to do this. They tend to engage in fallacious arguments. I don't like to do fallacious arguments, so I'll ask you again to give an answer that's not fallacious. Is that a possibility for you?
Just because you don't like my answer, that's factual.
Nope, I demonstrated why you're in. I demonstrated.
Why don't you let me answer?
Because you didn't answer the question. You asked something else. I demonstrated for you why your answer was fallacious. Because again, you're engaging in what's called a causation correlation fallacy, where you're noticing that there are two things that are correlated in the data, and while not being the cause, you're presenting it as if it were the cause. But again, if poor black people predate the welfare state, then the welfare state is not the cause of systemic poverty, because systemic poverty in the black community existed prior to the welfare state. So I'm going to ask you one more time. We only have 4 more minutes left in the show.
And
so
I'm
going to
ask
3
you questions too.
One final time if you can answer this and give a cause. And if you can't, I will tell you. You want to hear Jimmy's question because you're getting your fucking ass handed to you. So I'll ask you one final time
Jovan,
if you can give a cause. If
so
not,
beneath me in every single way.
Hakeem, I do not
Jovan,
care what
you're
you
so
think.
beneath me.
Hakeem, you have to be muted now. I'm sorry that a black man is literally dominating you in this call right now, and it's shaking you to your core. I know you've been upset that our dicks are bigger than yours ever since a black man fucked your girlfriend in high school. But unfortunately, Hakeem, this is how the calls work. You do what I say. You don't do what you say. Now, you have one more chance to answer my question, and then you will get a chance to talk to Jimmy. So the question, one more time, and if you say anything other than the answer, you will be muted again. The question, one more time, Hakeem, with your limp dick, is what is the cause of systemic poverty in the black community? Can you answer that? You're unmuted.
Can I talk to Jim? I've destroyed you thoroughly. You're low IQ as low
great.
IQ.
Jimmy, I'm sorry. I'm dropping him. I don't give a fuck.
So my follow-up was going to be to his cause. He said the Democrat Party. And then so I had a couple of questions. He said the Democrats. And so I was going to ask him, the longest uninterrupted run of Republicans in the presidency was, when was Reagan elected? Was that 1981?
83? No.
81. He took office in 81. It would have been 81. Yeah. He took office in 81. You had him twice, and then you had George Bush Sr., 12 years. And I was just going to ask him, did the wage gap, the racial wage gap, increase or decrease? The gap increased. Black people had less wealth after the largest uninterrupted run of Republicans in modern history. And by the way, it not only did it did black people's wealth decrease, white people's increased. So we also know where their wealth went. Then I was also going to bring up, he loves saying IQ. Loves it. After saying Jovan.
After proving he literally can't read, he likes talking about other people's IQ.
And I was also going to ask him if memory is a quality of IQ, memory recall. And it is, especially repetitious memory recall with information that you are actively engaging in. And this man believes he's politically active, and he has made certain comments. And I was going to ask him how often he has read about the Supreme Court and how familiar he is with it. And I believe that he was going to probably say, very familiar, I read about it all the time. And then I was going to ask him, what is the name of the black Supreme Court justice judge who is a woman? And I believe he was going to say, if he is consistent with what he said in chat, Ketanji Brown Jackson, because he thinks that her name is Ketanji, spelled Katanga, because that is what
Crazy.
He wrote in the chat. Katanga Brown Jackson is a low IQ person. That is Hakeem. So those were my questions for Hakeem. This does feel like
the answer to the question you refuse to ask that everybody in chat knows, obviously, is because of systemic racism. It's because of there's specific policies enacted by conservative-leaning groups, both Republican and Democrat, that kept black people inferior. Look up the Southern Strategy. Look up fucking what's his name. Oh my God, he was one of Reagan's fucking Lee Atwater. No, look up Lee Atwater. Lee Atwater literally admits to this. He said our plan from jump was to create policies that hurt black people more than they hurt white people. Like all this shit is written down by the people who did it. And it's just embarrassing that Hakeem is unable to engage in actual conversation.
But it backfired. Ha, fuck you, FBI. Crack's awesome, and now white people have it. Dicks. Don't do crack, guys. It's all about coke. Okay. You shouldn't do that either. I have to say that. I have nothing but fond things to say, despite having to go to rehab for it. Everybody go head over to the line. Watch, what'd you say?
I said goodbye to my chat.
Go watch the line, the Sunday show after dark. I actually won't be there. If you were a theist trying to get in, go call over there, 720-619-2288. The number's on the screen over there as well, and talk to them. You will have Mythicist, if the caller earlier wants to talk to John Gleason about his mythicism, as well as Owen Morgan, who I consider a cult expert, despite the fact that he will not take that title. Okay, bye.